lack of proper communication and understanding on the side of the police force and also on the side of the citizen. Here are some tips listed by the police force about comporting yourself at a police checkpoint. Endeavor to slow down your vehicle. It shows that you're not reckless. It also douses suspicion that you're a criminal and may want to speed off. Turn down the volume of your car stereo. Courtesy demands this. Besides, you are able to hear each other better. This simple act will help you win the confidence of the security operative. Keep your hands visible to avoid unnecessary suspicion or fear by the officers that you're attempting to bring out a gun or other harmful objects to attack them. Turn on the inner light of your vehicle while approaching the cops if at night. It readily sends an unspoken message that you have nothing to hide.
That's the nature of your job, officer. Don't worry. That's the nature of everything will be fine.
Be friendly and cheerful. Commend the officers, especially when you see them working under very unfriendly weather conditions such as rains and harsh Harmattan conditions, excessive heat, cold or sunshine. We know it's their job, but a little kind word from you will do a lot of good. Remember, when you smile at the mirror smiles back at you.
Officer will not come down. Let's see what you do.
Don't mind this.
We won't come down.
Endeavor to be polite when answering questions put to you by the officers. Don't dare or challenge an armed security man to a duel. Oftentimes, you hear people say things like, "Shoot me if you can." Note that this is a recipe for disaster. It is a very provocative and unnecessary call for war. So please, play safe, more so as you do not know the state of mind of the officer concerned. Also, don't go into a physical fight with an armed security officer. He may resort to the use of his weapon to defend himself. Avoid unnecessary arguments with armed security personnel. There are 1,001 ways to seek redress where you feel your rights have been infringed upon. Never try to touch an officer in an unfriendly manner. He may suspect you of trying to disarm him. If you're a regular traveler or road user, make sure you have the police emergency phone numbers of the route you operate. You never can tell when an emergency situation could arise and you need the police to come to your aid. Make sure you have all your relevant car papers and desist from actions or inactions that constitute either a criminal or traffic offense. Such infractions of the law provide a veritable grounds for possible charges and other forms of adversarial contact with the police or other law enforcement agencies, including unnecessary arguments. Don't give the impression that you're unhappy to see the officer on his beat or that he's wasting your time. But if you do have an emergency, politely inform the officer. Don't speed off while still being checked. Take note of the name tags, force or service numbers, personal description of weapon or patrol vehicle of the security officer, especially where the officers begin to conduct themselves in an unprofessional manner. Seek an audience with the most senior officer at the checkpoint if things are not working out smoothly. Politely insist to be taken to the police station if your complaint is not properly addressed. Who has the right of way? Nigerian roads come with a lot of chaos. The chaos is caused by a combination of drivers, motorcycle and tricycle riders, pedestrians and sellers who all claim the right of way. The chain of right of way holders in Nigeria is hierarchical and car and motor drivers are at the top of the chain with pedestrians at the bottom. Car or motor drivers believe that they always have the right of way regardless, and motorcycle and tricycle riders don't even have any regard for who has the right of way. For fear of accidents and their lives, pedestrians have learned to cower. When a collision occurs, the question of who has the right of way is on the lip of all concerned as they try to figure out who is guilty. The law doesn't grant anyone the right of way, but you yield it to other road users under these circumstances. At a yield sign, to pedestrians in a crosswalk, to persons using a seeing eye guide dog, to persons using a white cane with or without a red tape, at T intersections where you must yield to vehicles on the through road, at uncontrolled intersections.
A very good morning to you. You're welcome to the breakfast on Plus TV Africa.
Welcome. It's another Monday morning, the 18th, the day of December 2023. The year is winding down.
Yeah.
By the way, my name is Nyamgulu Agaji.
My name is Rumeth Paulson.
Today is going to be a very wonderful day. It's always a wonderful day when you wake up because you are waking up to a very, very brand new day. And no day is ever the same as the one that has passed. Yesterday has passed, today is the present. So let us make the best use of this present that God has given to us.
Yeah, with every new day comes new opportunities. So make the best of what you have. The opportunities that come in today, seize them. You know how they say, make hay while the sun shines?
Yeah.
But one thing,
this is our sun.
Ooh, let's talk about the weather.
when you call the sun and you remember the kind of sun we have, it's like it shines differently.
It's so hard.
We need to take this climate change thing really
Seriously, right.
Because if the ozone layer is depleting faster than we can evolve, because scientists tell us that there's evolution, so we can evolve and begin to adapt to the situation, hot sun, weather's changing and all that. But the rate of evolution will be so slow, and if the ozone layer is destroyed in a very fast way, that means we could just become extinct like the dinosaurs.
Well, we pray that doesn't happen. But one thing I'm excited about today is the fact that it's 7 days to Christmas officially. So you know how there's been 12 days of Christmas?
Yeah.
Like I've been counting down the days. I'm like 7 days.
Okay.
This time next year.
To some people, it's yay. It's 7 days to Christmas. To some people,
So I hope that's not the case for you this morning.
yes.
Anyways, let's go to our topic. First, we have our teasers, which is Serap sues INEC over failure to prosecute electoral offenders, and also we'll be discussing difficulties in mental health associated with corporate begging. But then let's go to our top trending stories for today, the ones that caught our attention. And one of the top trending stories this morning is the fact that 3 people were found dead and 7 others injured in Lagos-Ibadan Expressway accident. 3 people have died, with 7 others sustaining injuries in an accident involving 2 vehicles at the Corn Oil filling station axis on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway on Saturday. This was disclosed yesterday in a statement by the Ogun Sector Command of the Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, Florence Okwe, in Abeokuta, the state capital. According to Okwe, the incident occurred at 9:23 p.m. when a speeding Toyota Hiace bus with registration numbers LG anyways, lost control and collided with another trailer. The FRSC spokesperson also explained that 18 people, including 16 men and 2 women, were involved in the accident, noting that the injured victims were taken to Idera Hospital, Shagamu, for medical attention. Okwe stated that the deceased were deposited at the morgue of the same hospital. On his part, the sector commander, Anthony Uga, urged motorists to consider this period of high vehicular movement and poor visibility due to weather conditions.
Yeah, I don't know. Our people are very impatient. Some of these accidents are avoidable. You know, everybody wants to overtake the other. I don't know whether that is how they judge themselves as being expert drivers or something. Someone will overtake you just to stop the next few yards. So why not just be patient for the person to pass, and then you go and park.
And at the end of the day, even though you're rushing so much, guess what? You're only going to save about 2 minutes. So why rush? Why rush to your deaths of times? Do you understand? Or even the deaths of others, because this is a collision between 2 vehicles, right? Something similar happened to me, I think about 2 weeks ago. I was coming from the expressway from the mainland, and the vehicle in front of me stopped abruptly. So obviously, I'm trying to
maybe to carry a passenger.
No. It was an SUV. But then me, I'm trying to be a defensive driver, so I tried to move the other way a little bit, and the person behind me just hit me right there. My bumper was half of it was being dragged on Third Mainland. But guess what? If I wasn't being defensive and I tried to move the other way, there would have been a double collision. So I would have hit the person head on. The person behind me would have hit me head on. And God forbid, I don't know if I'll be here today. But guess the reason why this happened? It was because a bus was trying to reverse on the expressway.
Just like that.
Why would you even do that?
Impatience it's killing us. It's killing a lot of people, especially in this Lagos. Some people will run across the road when vehicles are coming just to wait on the other side to stop a bus. And I call Lagos a 5-minute city. That being that whatever you need, you'll find in the next 5 minutes. You need a pedestrian walkway. It's just 5 minutes away. You need even traffic to be so much so that you can walk leisurely across the road. Just 5 minutes away. Everything in Lagos is 5 minutes away. So why are you even rushing? I just don't understand. Some people feel to show that I'm in Lagos, I have arrived, I have to rush. You know, Lagos is on fast forward and all that.
Even running to get buses. I remember when I was much little, you see people actually jumping on motor buses and stuff. It's ridiculous. And I think at the end of the day, we really need to, our lives matter. Your life matter. And others around you as well. You can't just, be moving swiftly, rushing somewhere else. And the person, you're not even thinking of the safety of the other people, the other passengers on the road as well. You should save your lives and you should save your life and save the lives of others as well.
What they say in traffic is that as you're driving your car, you're driving the cars of others as well. So you'll be thinking, what would that person do that I may or may not like?
There's a saying they say all the drivers in Lagos are mad.
Yeah,
so think they are mad people and you're the same one, so you're trying to navigate for everyone.
So another thing that makes people do what they're doing here in Nigeria is it's not my portion kind of thing, and then you're blaming the other person. Your uncle, your innocent uncle or auntie in the village is the one. Village people are coming after you. FRSC will always tell you that this period is very unsafe. Don't overload, don't overspeed. I'm not a scientist, all that, but I do know that now that the air is lighter, everything is lighter, even your car speeding will be more. So don't think the way your car used to swerve in the rainy season will still be the same way that it will do at this time. So just be careful with whatever you're doing. Don't overspeed because everywhere is dry, everywhere is moving, there's no obstructions on the road and all that. Must we put speed bumps on every corner of our roads before we can break you down?
That's so sad. Anyways, our condolences to the families of the people who lost their lives, and
they rest in peace.
They rest in peace. Okay. Another story that caught our attention is Cambridge announces Nigerian professor as 7th president. The University of Cambridge has announced the professor of pharmaceutical nanoscience, Ijoma Uchegbu, as the 7th president of Wolfson College, one of its 31 colleges to succeed the current president, Professor Jane Clark, on October 1, 2024. This was made known in a statement on the university's website. Uchegbu is known for her groundbreaking work in nanoparticle drug delivery. The Nigerian professor currently lectures at the University College London. Professor Uchegbu is currently a professor of pharmaceutical nanoscience at University College London. Her pioneering work on the mechanisms of drug transport has led to the development of new treatments which promise to transform pain relief, including enkephaline pain medicine candidate and Velta, designed to address the opioid crisis. Her work has won her numerous awards, fellowships, and accolades as she holds positions on several academic boards and councils, including the Wellcome Trust, the Academy of Medical Sciences, and is an honorary fellow of the Royal Society of Chemistry. As Vice Provost for Africa and the Middle East at UCL, she played a leading role in forging youth research partnerships in those regions as UCL's Provost Envoy for Race Equality. She also helped steer the institution's race equality agenda. In a reaction to the news, Uchegbu said, "I am so thrilled to be joining Wolfson College, an ambitious and forward-thinking college." Uchegbu was raised in the southeast Nigeria and Hackney. She completed her pharmaceutical studies in the University of Benin in 1981 before attending the University of Lagos to obtain her master's degree. After returning to the UK, she studied postgraduate work at the University of London, earning a PhD in 1997 and worked as a lecturer at the University of Strathclyde from 2002 to 2004. That's really commendable. I mean, I love it when Nigerians are winning and taking giant strides. This is an inspiration to other women and even men in general, everyone in general, that whatever you set your mind to, you can achieve it. And it doesn't matter whether you're in Nigeria or you're in Afghanistan.
I like the fact that she studied in Benin and then Lagos.
Yes, and Lagos. And moved
that's
over
the foundation. But at the time she studied in Benin and Lagos, the educational standard, I'm sure, was a little bit better. So why can't we return to those days? And as we hurry in Nigeria, we like when people achieve, we applaud them and say they are Nigerians. And I ask myself, if she were in Nigeria, would she have the same opportunities? Because I saw a very disturbing and very, I don't know how, nation-killing trend during the election, where people were asked to go back to where they belong. Nigeria is our country, and there are some people who were born and raised in Lagos, and then you're telling them they're not Lagos enough, even when their parents or some of their parents were from here, and you're telling them that they're not Lagos enough. Lagos, that used to be a place we used to say people can thrive here no matter where you come from and all that, and everybody began to say it doesn't belong to you, it doesn't belong to you. So this is a Nigerian. Even if he has a green card or any other thing that makes her a citizen of that country, she still is a Nigerian. And I'm asking myself, if that college were in Lagos or in Ibadan or something, would she have become president? I saw also at a time in Cross River State where an attorney general was supposed to be appointed. It was her time to become that. She rose through the hierarchy of the law profession anyhow, and it was her time. She's married to a Cross Riverian, and she's from Akwa Ibom State, and they said she's not an indigene.
What?
And it took them like 6 months or more before they could confirm her to be what she was supposed to be. And it was really annoying, really depressing for anybody who knows that a nation cannot be built. Any community, in short, cannot be built with only the citizens of that community.
Yes.
There is no community that is fast moving, fast growing, that is developed by only the people that are from there. I have not seen one.
Yeah, because when you're getting other people to come in, they're coming with fresh ideas. They're coming with different cultures. You have like a variety of things, and that is the spice of life, we like to say. So you can't just say it has to be one person or one indigene. You should have other people that would come and spice things up.
Yeah.
And anyways, I'm really happy for her. I'm happy that she's making giant strides, and it's an inspiration to me and many others.
For every other Nigerian, just know that wherever you go, you can thrive, you can flourish, you can make us proud. No matter how many years she has lived there, now we can still beat our chest and say she's Nigerian. So when you go out there, be an ambassador to Nigeria, no matter what you're doing.
Yes. Okay, and the last top trending story this morning is Mr. Olatubosun Oyutiloye, a chieftain of the All Progressive Congress APC in Osun State, has appealed to President Bola Tinubu to urgently intervene in the hike on prices of essential drugs in the country. Oyutiloye, who made the appeal while speaking with newsmen on Sunday in Osogbo, said that many Nigerians were currently unable to access most essential drugs due to the extreme high prices. He said the escalating prices of the drugs could be attributed to a combination of factors, which include the withdrawal of GSK, a major player in the pharmaceutical industry, and the high rate of inflation in devaluation of Naira. Oyutiloye said that the factors, among others, have made prices of drugs such as amlodipine, augmentin, paracetamol, Exforge, Coartem, and other essential drugs to become unaffordable for the common man. According to him, the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, has revealed that the value of medicines imported to Nigeria rose by 68% to 81.8 billion between July and September. Oyutiloye, a former lawmaker, said the surge in the prices of the drugs had placed a significant financial strain on individuals and families already struggling with the harsh economy. When the local currency weakens against foreign currencies, the expenses incurred in procuring these essential medical supplies rise, consequently driving up the overall prices in medicines in the country.
I'm just going to laugh. I don't know what the president will do. He can't do anything, except he's going to give us palliatives in drugs, or he's going to give subsidy in drugs, which I don't think is the way to go. The subsidy, we know that cut across all sectors, has been removed. The dollar or the naira against the dollar, which we know that that's what we do international trade with, is
and we do a lot of importation.
Yes. So these are the basic things. If these things cannot be corrected, and then there's insecurity as well. If these things cannot be corrected, there's no way the president is going to intervene. Will he buy paracetamol for every household, or buy a get a central place where people can access paracetamol for free?
Well, I think that's where healthcare comes in, because I mean, in other countries, I remember when I was in uni in the UK, I could go to the GP and gives me like drugs for free, certain drugs. So things like paracetamol should be free.
You will see that politicians will take cartons and cartons and keep and be giving us palliative. So it will not work, because if all these things are put in place, the basic things that make life meaningful to Nigerians are put in place, nobody would need the government to do anything about drugs and all that. Companies will come because there is security, the dollar is stable, or the naira is stable, and then we have fuel that is running every business, or at least power.
Stable
that is
power.
stable. If we have all these things, if you go to Ghana, for instance, and you're subscribing, or you're recharging your phone, the amount of time you will use, maybe 1,000 naira worth of airtime, is like double or triple of what you will do in Nigeria, because they have steady power. Now, all the service providers in Nigeria are factoring in the diesel that they have to buy, everything that they need to do. That's why our tariffs are so high. So put those things in place. Companies will come. You don't need to globetrot before you can get investors to come into Nigeria. When they come to Nigeria, they don't even know whether they are going to make money. Tomorrow the dollar is skyrocketing. Tomorrow is somewhere it's not stable and all that. There's no security. Their companies could be burnt anytime. And then you're telling them to come to Nigeria.
You're asking foreign investors to come in. Meanwhile, the ones you have here are leaving. We're talking about GSK leaving. Other companies are also leaving as well. So have you made your economy stable enough that these people can come and thrive? Doing business in Nigeria, people say, is quite tasking. You're not even sure of getting your money back, returns on investment. But then you still want to go out and ask people to come. So why would someone want to come to a harsh economy whereby they're not sure if they can make their money back? So I think what we need to do is make sure that we stabilize the economy, make sure that, those double taxation, just make it more appealing for people to say, okay, I want to come and invest in Nigeria. We're seeing other countries like even Ghana, people are investing there. You're seeing companies go there.
I see very soon companies doing the Lagos Ogun thing. Let me explain what I mean by that. If you go to Ogun State, every corner of Ogun State, there are companies. But when you think about companies in the southwest, you'll find them in Ogun State because there is market in Lagos. But Lagos, the taxation and everything is so much so that they would prefer to be in Ogun and then target the Lagos market.
Yeah.
So I see a situation where all those companies, knowing that there's the market in Nigeria, will be situating themselves in countries close to Nigeria. They will go to Ghana, they will go to Benin, go to Togo, go to other places, knowing that it's going to be easy to get to Nigeria and all that. And then we are losing it. We're losing everything.
Yeah.
So if they don't put things in order, we will be more or less begging. We'll be the part of the people they're calling corporate beggars, like one of the topics that we're talking about it this morning.
Yeah.
And then today, like every other day, a lot of people are trekking.
Yeah, we were having a conversation.
A lot of people are trekking. Like before we came on air, how so many people were giving us testimonies of people trekking from the island. Some of them are going as far as Yanokbaja. When will you get there? When will you come back? So at this point, we may not say raise the salaries of people because companies are also struggling.
Well.
Yes, but at least you can make provisions for these people. Whoever cannot go home every day because of the transportation should at least have a place to sleep.
Yeah, welfare should come
Yes,
in.
let them at least have a place to sleep. So if every company will have, maybe 2 companies come together, get an accommodation that is hostel-like, whatever you can do, but let people who can stay back and just keep some money. You're paying someone, even if it's 150,000, how much will you pay
for
transport? Yes, before you come. And if you have a car, you will have to be a partial transporter. So that in the morning you're coming to work, you are like, island.
Yeah, that's the only way you can afford.
And then even then, how much will you take if you take from? I always use Bega because that's where I know. If you go from Bega to the island, 1,000 naira, and you have a car that will take 4 people, that's 4,000 naira. That's less than 8 liters of fuel.
Yeah.
So how long will that take you?
It doesn't even do anything.
So whatever it is, so to the people that can sleep, let there be accommodation for them, or you get a company vehicle that will be dropping them wherever they're going to, because people are suffering. They have to be at work, and they also have to be at home, and they have to feed others. So it's really difficult.
Someone was saying that how do you even save in an economy like this? I mean, our parents, or my parents, their generation, you see that they have like civil jobs, right? And then they're able to save and build houses and buy cars. Like, how do you even save for all of that in this economy?
Piggy banks now have keys. You know.
You open it.
You know the local piggy banks we used to have in those days just had a small straight line.
Yeah, and the padlock thing.
Yeah, you don't even padlock it. You nail it, and then you just put the money, whatever it is, till maybe at the end of the year. Now it is padlocked, so that anytime
you can easily open it and
you can
like,
open
I need
it
to save myself.
Yeah.
I don't need to save money. I need to save myself.
Yes. Even though in those days you could car, you would end up maybe spending like 400,000 naira on the car, or it depends on where you're coming from.
Yeah.
You've not talked about your utility bills, your rents, your school fees if you have children, feeding and all that.
Food
You've not
so
said
expensive.
it.
I mean, we're talking about it on the newspaper review. Was it last week? We're talking about how a basket of tomatoes now is about 100,000. Rice is about 60-something thousand. The prices are ridiculous, and like we said, I'm not sure the president can do anything on this food, drugs, and all of that. But any way you can cushion the effects on people, I think that would be great.
Bring back subsidy.
Bring back. Okay, we'll go on a quick break and we'll just look at the weather. And when we return, we'll be having conversations on the national dailies this morning. Stay with us.
for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Thank you for staying with us. It's time for After Press. We'll be looking at what the national dailies are saying this morning. And joining us to review the papers is Dr. Ambrose Ibuke, Chairman Guild of Public Affairs Analyst of Nigeria, Enugu State Chapter. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, and thanks for having me on the show this morning.
Yes, compliments of the season to you.
Same here. Same here.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going to start with Nature News today, and the major headline here says, how 6,000 farmers lost seedlings produce to Lagos flooding. says NEMA. So we're hearing, first, we have this shortage in food supply. People are not able to move their produce to the market. And right now we're looking at the Nature News because we're trying to decipher what's going on, basically. So people are not able to move their produce to the market. And now we're hearing that even the seedlings are being lost. What is your thoughts on this one?
Well, the impact of this is going to be felt by next year. As we all know, in agriculture, seedling means that the seeds that you use to plant for the next season. So the harvest for this year has been concluded. We might not feel it, but by this time next year, we'll feel the bite of what has just happened. Because seedlings is the thing that you use to plant for the next farming season. So having lost that means that there will be negative impact on the output of farmers next year. However, Nigeria has been grappling with adequate storage facilities or adequate even seedlings. The agricultural ministries from the federal level, even towards some World Bank assisted projects, have been trying to see how they could improve and enhance capabilities of farmers and capacities to store, produce and seedlings. Knowing this, I don't know if NEMA did not, disaster management or other agencies that are responsible, whether they didn't warn the farmers about the impending flooding. And then also what the Lagos state government did with them. Because these things could be avoided. I don't know why they should allow farmers store their seedlings when they know the flood is coming. So some of those things that could be avoided should try to be avoided so that they don't plunge the country into an agricultural or food crisis situation. These things are avoidable. And so we should be more proactive rather than reactive in the things we do in this country.
So what does that mean for us now? Because first we're talking about fuel subsidy being removed. We're talking about shortage in food supply as of right now. And then next year, that means there might be no food. So does this mean there's a possible famine lurking?
Well, there are ways you can stop the gap. The seedlings that were lost, the federal government can ensure that the farmers get back their seedling through a process where the farmers can be given back free seedlings or even provided for them on maybe on credit, on deficit basis materials to plant. So farmers government can encourage them by even giving them maybe twofold of what they have lost, and then give them the necessary things like fertilizers, the tractors, and some other things to help them so that we will suffer farming. It is only when we don't act that we can suffer. But when we act accordingly, especially proactively, then we won't do that. So now that we know that there is disaster in that area, especially in that southwest houses through Lagos, we can, the Lagos state government in conjunction with the federal government could do quickly rally around the farmers and supply them seedlings in the new coming year. So this is also what can be replicated across the country. So that there won't be shortage of food. We can plan this year to avoid shortage of food next year. But if we do nothing, as we usually do, then there will be shortage of food. Then when there's shortage of food, you start sending people doing press conferences and bringing food from Ukraine, bringing food from China, and bringing food from everywhere. That is always the check approach that we're playing in this country. So it is now time to plan. Disaster has happened. And you know that this disaster will affect food output next year. Start now and try to remediate whatever that has happened so that food shortage won't happen next year. That is how serious countries plan. And I think we can do that. It's not a rocket science.
What strategy are we going to use? Because when the former president Jonathan was here, he had a minister, Akiumi, that is now the African Development Bank chairman. And he had a strategy where everything that was given from the federal got to the farmers. I can say that because I know in my remote village where we have farmers, they could have their farm inputs, fertilizers, herbicides, and everything that they needed. When the next government came, the government of President Muhammadu Buhari, they jettisoned that system. And also this president has come. There's nothing regarding that, how things should move from the federal to the local farmers, which means it might still be like the palliatives, that we are finding palliatives that are ready-made food that people should get and feed themselves are being hoarded by politicians and used for their birthday souvenirs and so many other things that are really annoying. How do you think the federal government, what kind of strategy do you think they can use to make sure that these things that need to get to the farmers so that they can start to produce what we need for next year can get to them? What is the best way to go?
Well, you have said it. It's not, as I've said earlier, it's not something that have not been done. We are not even, you just cited an example. The example you cited is not what happened in India or what happened in Rwanda or what happened in the United States of America. The example you cited is actually what happened here in Nigeria. So we have done it, something we did 10 years ago. We cannot even replicate it. Some things we did 40 years ago. We cannot even continue with this. Things we did 50 years ago. We cannot even do it now. So that means there is a kind of, we are progressing towards retrogression. That's what is happening in this country. Because if we cannot even run an efficient system, we ran more than almost half a decade ago, half a century ago, and then we come to this 2023. We are. So that means we are operating as if we're in the 1920s or 1930s. Because if we cannot even replicate the things we did in 1960s and 70s, so we have said it all. Additional is still there, he's still very active. Jonathan is still there, he's still very active. So whatever it is, why can't it work? What Additional did was to buy these cheap phones, these very cheap phones for them, for farmers, distributed it across the country. And then you get text message directly from the Ministry of Agri telling you that your fertilizer is here, this and that. And then by the time you go, they tell you where to pick it up. You pick it up and you acknowledge it, and that is it. It went directly, and there's those reports where where the feedbacks and everything were controlled in a central system where everybody could see that even that your village, that somebody got it and he had responded that he got it, and so those kind of things cut off the middlemen. And then was able to go straight to the farmers, and you could see the impact. There was a serious economic boom that period. Farming was very sweet to the farmers, and they were able to bring out a lot of output. But who are the middlemen? The middlemen basically are the public office holders, the politicians, even the civil servants are part of it. And so these things, we know them, and then it is about the will. It's about the body language. So it's about the will of whoever is in charge. It's about the will of the president. It's about whoever.
Here in Nature News, and this says Nigeria will achieve port automation integration by 2025, says NPA, which is the Nigerian ports authorities. So I know they're saying they want to do the ports automation, but how achievable is this? They're claiming that 2 weeks of work would be done in a couple of hours. But is this achievable for us? Do we have the technology right now? I know 2025 seems like a long time, which is in 2 years, but well, almost in 2024. Are you sure that we can get there before 2025?
The Nigerian ports, and then its authority that is running it, are disgraceful. I mean, it's a shame of the century. For even the Nigerian ports to come tell us that he's trying to do it and announcing it and calling press conference and reporting it to you, it's shameful. I mean, we have lost it. I mean, small countries like Ghana, Togo, Benin Republic, and some of these countries. Let's leave Europe and the United States out of it. We are talking about our African countries. They are operating efficient port systems. Now, it takes you, somebody was doing analysis the other time about export of yam tubers to Europe. In Nigeria, it will take you 75 days to move from the time you bring your yams, tubers of yam, to the ports, to move it 75 days because of manual, because of multiple agencies inspecting it, because of all kinds of bureaucracies, because of corruption and all kinds of things. Meanwhile, in Benin Republic, it takes 5 days to move the same thing. So we are losing. Even Nigerians are using the port of Seme, are using the border ports to bring in goods. Some of them are going to Togo. So something is fundamentally wrong, and we know it. So there won't be any automation because the corrupt system will not allow it to be automated. So it is left for, I keep on saying that to this federal, critical federal infrastructure and agencies, the president needs to put his feet on ground. We cannot allow civil servants and people who are running this system, who are gaining from the corrupt system and from the manual system to rubbish us. If we have, look at what we did in the banking sector, where we just went almost fully digital, that sector. A lot of sectors have gone digital. Even the licensing of your car documents and the plate numbers and some of these things have gone digital. You do this auto sends you message and the rest. Look at Lagos, when you commit a traffic offense now, they send you. Many things are going digital. These things that are even more complicated. Port is not complicated. It's an international trade. Other countries have the integration has happened in other serious countries. It's all for us to just plug in and then make sure our own system is integrated. But they won't make it integrated. They won't make it digital because they are gaining from the corruption, from the manual process, which is rife with corruption. So the NPA should spare us these rhetorics and just ensure that our ports are integrated. Why 2025? These things can take place under 1 month. The technology is there. All you need is integration. Call a consultant, IT experts to do this. It's not rocket science. We can digitize our ports in February. You can start running it by March. So this 2025 is what? For you to steal more money or what? So please, this is not the kind of news we want to be hearing. We want to hear that Nigerian ports have been fully digitized. Not that we'll digitize the ports in 2025. Who are you telling those kind of stories? And I don't blame them. Nigerians don't react to this kind of things. They know we are seems to be at home with inefficiency. So the NPA boss or whoever is saying that should just spare us those dramas.
Okay, let's move to the Nation newspaper. The leading headline is Lalong resigns from FEC. That is the the Minister of Labor and Employment has decided to go and take the position of a senator for the Plateau South senatorial district. I don't know what you think about that.
I think that was a smart move. The ministerial appointment is the minister is an appointment, and tomorrow the president can sack you, and then you go back, to wherever you are. So, but the senatorial seat is an elective position, which we won, which is a political, and people have voted for you. So it is safer. We talk of job security. The Senate is safer. Being a senator is safer than being a minister, because as a minister, you can be asked to leave anytime. And so when I read that news, I was like, oh, at last. And so we are waiting for other ministers to do the same. People are holding two positions, and they are waiting for the highest courts to declare. So we are waiting for someone like Dave Umahi to also do the same thing. He's a minister and he's a senator. So we are not running a parliamentary system of government where you can be where the ministers are from the parliament. This is a presidential system of government where the ministers are different from the parliamentarians.
My concern, sir, Doctor, is the fact that these ministers, as you have mentioned some of them, it seems as if they were not appointed because of what is happening. They were not appointed based on merit, based on their capabilities. They were appointed as a consolation that they lost in their senatorial district. So come and just hold the fort until you are declared winner in your senatorial district and you can go. Because if Nigeria needs them in the capacity the president chose them, I should have thought that maybe patriotism and confidence in themselves that they will deliver and not be sacked at any moment will make them stay. For instance, you have the chief of staff. He won. He was a former speaker of the House of Representatives, and he left it and came to take up the responsibility of chief of staff of the president. So ministerial position being used as stopgap for people to just stand there, continue earning money until they are declared by the courts that they won in the senatorial districts, it disturbs me somehow.
Well, you are the one said that the ministerial position was kind of a placeholder for them to see if they will win at the courts in their senatorial bid. You are the one said that it's a placeholder. Well, I don't think the president thought that it was a placeholder. There are Nigerians, and there are politicians, and they're qualified for the position. So I don't share your view. The president appointed them as ministers, and then they won their case at the courts. By the time they were being appointed minister, remember that someone like Lalong was not a senator because he was not declared winner. So while he was there doing that, he was not a senator. So it was someone like Dave Umahi who can be talking about saying that he was a senator, although the case is still in court and the rest. So somebody like that is what you want. Somebody like that is what we'll talk about. You have to choose which one do you want to do. All of them are serving the nation. So if you are a minister, you are serving the country. If you're a senator, you are serving the country. If you are House of Reps, you are serving the country. So whatever capacity you have is your personal decision and where you want to be. The other one, as I have explained earlier, is your people that gave you the mandate in terms of through the election route. But the other one is not your people that gave you the mandate. It is at the pleasure of Mr. President. So for people who want to think the other way like Lalong, remember that the one that maybe the people gave him, he has more, rights to it than the one that is given as somebody's pleasure. And so that is how, that is my introspect to it, to say, oh, maybe he just feels that, you can, of course, the minister can be fired anytime. So let's not dribble about it. If the president feels that the minister is not doing well, he can be fired. Ministerial post, like what Buhari did in his time. It's not a political position. It's not tenured. Some people like, that's why the economy was intact during Buhari's time. Because ministerial position was taken as if it was tenured and if it was an electoral elective position. It is not. It is at the pleasure of the Mr. President. He gave you some mandate, and if he didn't deliver that, you get sacked and get booted out.
All right, let's just look at Daily Trust. There's a small headline at the bottom corner there, which says NMA gives FG, federal government, 45-day ultimatum to review doctors' salary. So we know that a lot of doctors have been moving out of the country. The healthcare system is actually deteriorating at the moment because you're even seeing wards being closed. There are no personnel on site, and now they say they want their salary reviewed. What does this mean for us? If the salary doesn't get reviewed, are we going to lose more doctors, or is the federal government going to even budge at any given point?
Nigeria is in a medical crisis situation. But unfortunately, since the federal government is not even saying the crisis and the emergency in the health sector, do your own assessment. Talk to the young girls and boys who are studying for nursing in nursing schools around. I've interacted with a lot of them. The person is just waiting to get licensed by the Nigerian Midwifery Council, by the Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria. And once the person is licensed, the next thing the person wants to do is to leave this country. Anywhere can do. A lot of them go to Canada. Some of them go to the UK. Some of them. So other people are using Nigerian medical personnel to fill their own gap. Like in the UK, they have a lot of health gap. So they were taking a lot of Nigerian nurses. When it was not enough, they now started taking caregivers and other health workers. A lot of Nigerians have come there as caregivers. A lot of people have moved. In the last 3 years, I can count up to like 10 nurses I know personally that have moved. Caregivers, more than 30. Personally, these are people I know. Then, multiply that across the country and see the kind of crisis we are in. As you rightly said, there's somebody I know who was trying to recruit a nurse for the office in Abuja, and they were not able to do that for 6 months. Anybody anybody wanted to employ, they would tell, I'm already processing leave, I may not last up to 3 months, I may not last up to 6 months, I may not last up to 8 months. These are the things you are hearing. And the person wanted stability. So it took them a lot of time. Even those who are already in the system working for the person, the private company, some of them are already leaving too. So it's a huge crisis that we are not even, we have not imagined the impact of what is going to happen. Our doctors and the consultants are leaving. I know somebody who is a consultant or obstetrician and gynecologist who said that he believes in this country, it's gone. He was one of the people who believe so much, who are even chastising his colleagues who were leaving, and he wants to leave because the colleagues who have left, some of them go to this Saudi Arabia or some other country, and earning huge money were converted to the Nigerian currency. Some of them are earning as much as 7 million, 8 million, 10 million, 6 million, depending on where you're working and the kind of qualification you have. When you convert to the Nigerian currency in a month, and then somebody is here earning like 500,000 naira, and then overworked because we don't have enough medical personnel. So people, the ones that are remaining have been overworked. We are hearing cases of doctors falling dead. The one in Lasut we heard was still dead. We had other cases in Leeds, other places. Doctors are falling off, are dying because of overwork. And it's becoming it has become a medical emergency. So NMA does not even need to, Nigerian Medical Association does not even need to talk about it before the federal government should do it. It should be declared an emergency, and whatever they need should be given to them so that they can be encouraged to stay.
There was news the other day that the president went out and he was begging Nigerian doctors and health workers to return to do their duty for Nigeria. He was begging them when they went abroad.
Who is saying that?
It was on the news.
Who said it?
The president went out. I think it was at the sidelines of the COP28 or so, and he was begging doctors of Nigerian descent to come.
The president doesn't. It is psychophancy. The president doesn't need to beg doctors. All the president needs to do is sit down with the health ministry, sit down with the budget office, chief budget and planning office, see how much you can allocate to the health sector, to the salary of it, give them jumbo pay, and say from now on we are going to triple all this thing. America is paying you 1,000, paying you like $5,000 per month. We are going to pay you $7,000 per month. Come back. We are going to pay consultants $7,000. We are going to pay this. You sit down with the Nigerian Medical Association. You work it out. Increase their salaries. You don't need to tell anybody to come back. You don't even need to beg anybody. Once they see the package is sweet, they come back. The truth is that many people that have left this country don't actually want to leave. Nigerians love Nigeria. They want to stay. But it's the economic hardship that's making them leave. So the president should not just be saying this thing for the sake of saying it.
I know you're talking about
health is a critical sector.
Yeah.
Health is a critical sector, just like education. So vote money and increase their salaries, increase their pay. The nurses, the doctors, the medical, other medical, staff. And let us have a good health sector. They will return naturally. Nobody needs to beg. Don't beg anybody. Give them huge package. They will return.
Well, we hope that, I believe that if the offer is juicy enough, people would...
At least the ones here will not move.
Yes. I'm not sure we can maybe match up with the with the US and Canada and say we want to. Because I think we will have that revenue.
We can. We have what it takes. We say we fritter our money. We move our money. Most of our money are in private hands. We can. We have the capacity. So let's not be deceiving people to say that we don't have it. We have it.
I mean, if we're buying SUVs for 160 million, then
we are not
should be able to.
We are not prioritizing our critical sectors. Yeah. Money is being frittered away in useless things. Renovation of this person's house, renovation of this person's 15 billion, renovation of is that what you are supposed to do here? Move all those things you are frittering away and use it to pay health workers. You are saying there's no money. We can match anybody in the world with money.
Okay, we have to wrap up, but I want to take this one from The Guardian quickly before we go, and it says federal government firms trade jobs as illegal expatriates take over the economy. So there are lots of expatriate. Well, there are some numbers here that says about 13,000 expatriate quota, 1,600 work permits issued in 3 years. So we're seeing a lot of expatriates coming into Nigeria taking over the economy, but even some of them are illegal. What are your thoughts on that?
It's unfortunate that we are giving jobs to expatriates while our own people are leaving. You can see the paradox in our situation. What kind of country is this? You just see things, things that are not supposed to happen in civilized climes are happening here, and you start wondering, are we really part of the world, global village? So these are the things we are talking about. Your own staff. When expatriate workers come, you pay them you negotiate in foreign currency, and you domicile the equivalency. Some people earn their money in foreign currency. That is why I was countering you when you were saying there's no money. We have money. So you are bringing expatriates in to pay them huge amount of money in dollars or in pounds or whatever, and our own people are leaving. You say there's no money. Even the jobs that is left to our people, we are sabotaging it and giving it to foreigners. Many other countries, when you go there with apart from the contract they give to you, they will insist that that their own people do it. But here in Nigeria, we sign contracts with other countries. They are bringing their expertise, they are bringing their staff to execute that project. A lot of some of these donor agencies, that's what they do. A serious country will not do that. If you want to do a partnership with us, after bringing your fund, our people will run it. We have all the competencies in Nigeria. Everything you think of under the earth, we have the competencies in Nigeria. Nigerian people are resourceful. So you cannot allow people to be bringing in, you sign an agreement, you are paying for it. Look at Chinese people everywhere executing the Chinese project. You can't try that in China. You can't try that in any serious country. So these things must stop. Even when you are setting up your own industry with your own one in other countries, they will give you quota. They will tell you that 40% or 50% or XYZ number of management must be their own people. Some will give you the condition that the managing director must be from their country. And some will give you that 80% of the junior workforce must be from their country. That's how serious countries work, creating jobs for their people. But here we allow people just run whatever they want, and we want job that isn't left for us. We give contracts to foreigners and allow them to bring in their foreign expatriates. No country moves forward this way. Nigeria should wake up and do the right things so that we can move forward. Right now we are running around in circles, and it will take us nowhere.
Well, I hope we start to prioritize our own citizens and make sure that we're giving them jobs. We're creating jobs for the citizens of Nigeria instead of bringing other people in. But yes, we want to thank you, Dr. Ambrose Ibukwe, for joining us today and reviewing the papers. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you. All right, we've been talking to Dr. Ambrose Ibukwe. He's the Chairman, Guild of Public Affairs Analysts of Nigeria, Enugu State Chapter. We'll go on a quick break, and when we return, we'll look at our hot topics. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. It's time for our first hot topic, and this day we'll be talking about SERAP suing INEC over failure to prosecute electoral offenders. So we know that the off-cycle elections just happened recently, and SERAP now is saying that there are certain electoral offenders that INEC hasn't prosecuted yet. And so joining us to talk about this is Kola Wole, who is the main person in SERAP that we like to talk to. Kola Wole Oluwadare, Deputy Director of SERAP. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
You know, you're our main guy in SERAP. For the conversations that we have, we like to speak to you because you give it to us straight. So, getting right into it, there are certain offenders and INEC is yet to prosecute them. So why is SERAP suing at this point? Just give us a brief overview so we can understand what's going on.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, this is one of those things that again would end up as a public interest litigation, and it shouldn't. This is predicated on the recently completed, not so recent actually, off-cycle elections in 3 states. That is Kogi, Bayelsa, and Imo states. And the various reports, and some of them are credible from credible sources, but okay, we'll call them reported because they've not been established before a court of law. The reported acts of electoral malpractice, including violence, ballot snatching, and vote buying. And naturally, what INEC should do is to prosecute people that have been found culpable of these actions. This is situated within the context of what we've seen in this country. The integrity of our democracy is at stake. And more importantly, the integrity of INEC as a key player in the electoral process is at stake. So we wrote to INEC, asking INEC to carry out this statutory function among other requests that we made. And because we did not get a response from INEC, we have gone to court. And basically, the reliefs, the prayers that our lawyers are asking the court is simply to compel INEC to do what the law says it should do. And so, the question which I think the Nigerians should be asking is that, is INEC saying there were no electoral malpractices in these 3 elections? Or is INEC saying that those things that occurred, that some of them were captured on camera, that occurred in the elections in these states, that they are not electoral offenses, or is INEC saying it doesn't have the capacity to prosecute them? It is also against the background that the Electoral Act gives INEC the statutory powers to prosecute electoral offenses. The law says clearly that it is the legal practitioners in the legal department of INEC that will do the prosecution. Of course, this doesn't take away the right of other law enforcement agencies to prosecute people for electoral offenses, but squarely, this falls within the constitutional mandate of INEC.
Because I was also going to say that shouldn't that be for our police, to prosecute them, and maybe as things are happening, when these reports are happening, they just get to arrest or prosecute them. But, I understand what SERAP is saying, make sure that these people are being prosecuted. So now, how would you want INEC to go about this? And what can INEC do to ensure that this doesn't even happen again? Can you hear me?
So, to look at the Electoral Act, Section 145, and I'm very sure that the intention of those who have put this section in the Electoral Act is also to empower INEC, perhaps from the things that have happened historically in our elections. Section 145 says that the prosecution of offences under the Electoral Act shall be undertaken by INEC or a legal practitioner appointed by INEC. So we clearly understand that this is prosecution. But of course, there is the arrest and the investigation aspect of things, which is why INEC should be able to liaise with the law enforcement agencies who were on ground during the elections for the investigative side of things, and then INEC can do the prosecution. But we are yet to hear of anyone that has been charged to court or been prosecuted by INEC. Again, I have not seen any report of the police charging anyone to court to, or if there are instances where the police have charged anyone to court, that doesn't remove the responsibility of INEC as a major stakeholder in the electoral process to ensure that these individuals are prosecuted. So this is not far-fetched. INEC's credibility is at stake, and whatever affects INEC's credibility and effectiveness impugns on the electoral process itself. From the things we've seen from the last general elections and from previous elections that INEC has conducted. So it is in the interest of INEC in buying public that credibility to ensure that it doesn't only take the steps, but it is seen it's taking the steps to ensure that this does not happen again. It is not enough for everyone to complain about the things that have happened and close it all. Individuals who have been found culpable should be prosecuted, and the people will see. And that would also mean that in the forthcoming elections, whether they are off-cycle elections or the general elections, it will deter a lot of people from going through this process. Of that prosecutory power of INEC, there may be there may be members of political parties or even those in government who have been found culpable in the investigative process, which should also be made to federal law. We can continue to complain, and we have institutions of government that have been statutorily empowered, including financially empowered to do these things, and failing to do nothing. It is just not right.
Okay,
and it won't help anyone in the long run.
So does SERAP have any evidence, because you're saying you've not heard of anyone who has been prosecuted yet? I'm sure with your investigations, does SERAP have anyone who they can say for sure as an evidence that, this person did this, and so therefore we expect that this person should be prosecuted? Because you're saying you've not heard of anyone being prosecuted, but then what if there's no evidence? And you know how our system works, our legal system works, that says when there's no evidence, sorry, that's it.
I thought you were referring to no evidence. You go explain tire.
I was about to say that. You go explain tire.
But in this instance, our evidence abounds. And as part of the letter we wrote to INEC, we also chronicled some of those media reports, including some done by other organizations, for instance, Center for Development, Center for Democracy and Development, and Chronicle that issued the report. It's chronicling various instances of electoral malpractices in Bayelsa. It mentioned, for example, the Center for Democracy and Development that mentioned what PU1, PU1, Ward 8, PU11, Ward 1 in Shabama local government in Bayelsa West. And there are other instances that will be chronicled, the ones reported in the media. We forward to INEC. And again, the issue is for INEC to work with law enforcement agencies and investigate. If perhaps the investigation turns out to be false, there will be any prosecution. Of course, I don't think that would happen. Then if the investigation finds out that there are credible evidence against individuals, the prosecution will happen. So this is not about specific individuals. It is about incidents, many of them, of electoral malpractices that occurred in these three states. Investigation INEC must jumpstart that process and ensure that they are prosecuted. For instance, the least INEC can do, or tell Nigerians that's done, is to say that we've gone to the law enforcement agencies who have gone during the elections, and we've collated the number of incidences that they've witnessed, arrests that were made, investigations that have done, and we're working with them to make sure that they are prosecuted. And patch Nigerians, the people that have been charged to court, and the process of the prosecution. And nothing has been done. And don't forget, in our letter to INEC, we have also asked questions. If there have been prosecutions, if there have been investigations, and calling on them to make them public. If the INEC did not respond to the various issues submitted before them, is why again we have to end up in court in this instance. And it's really a sad thing to see that such a major stakeholder in the electoral process that should be seen to be doing its best to be impartial and effective is really not taking action in this instance.
Okay. Nigerians have a way of saying, I have the evidence, but if I talk, Nigeria will burn, and then they put the seat on it and they don't do anything. I hope that will not happen here. But I have two concerns. First of all, why only off-cycle elections? Why have they, or are you satisfied with what INEC has done with the general elections? Because there were still some incidences that needed people to answer for it, and we have not heard anything. I don't know if you have that information that INEC did something so good that you're comfortable with it. So why did you single out only the off-cycle election?
In fact, issues arising from the general elections, they are the subject matter of another litigation at the Federal Court. Two cases actually, one in the Federal Court Lagos, one in the Federal Court Abuja. Also, what we have done is similar to this, where we've called upon INEC and submitted evidence that we have found in the media and from organizations that have done the investigation to INEC to ensure that these incidents are investigated and prosecuted. So there are two lawsuits in court presently on the general elections. That is the incidents of electoral malpractice that we witnessed then. Calling on INEC to do the same thing we have said they should do now, which they did not do.
Okay. My second concern, which maybe some people will be asking now, I should know better, but let me ask you this question. If these people are prosecuted of what benefit will it be? For instance, if a governor won because of an electoral malpractice and he has already gone to the Supreme Court and he has won his election, what impact will that have? Is it just to tell the world that this thing happened? Because if there is no use, why go the whole hog?
The issues submitted before the court in the election petition tribunals, they are different from the prosecutory powers of INEC under the Electoral to punish offenders. And under the election petition tribunals, acts of electoral malpractice forms one of the grounds for whatever those parties want the courts to find. But it's totally different from the prosecutory powers of INEC. Primarily, the function of that power, as inserted in Section 145 of the Electoral Act, is to ensure that it serves as a deterrent to others who may want to take some actions. And it would also constitutionally empower, it would give INEC that much needed credibility. INEC spends a lot of time and perhaps a lot of resources also. Pre-elections and during elections, zero tolerance to electoral malpractices. But we've not seen INEC carry out actions after the elections to show that it's against electoral malpractice. We've not seen that done enough. And so, when individuals or those in political offices and are in offices subject to the findings of the Electoral Petitions Tribunal or otherwise, is totally different from the powers of INEC to prosecute individuals for electoral offenses. And these electoral offenses, as stated in the Electoral Act, range from what we call perhaps the petty to the severe. Vote buying, for instance, is an electoral offense. Ballot snatches and electoral offense, and perhaps which is why even in the quantum of punishments for these two offenses, the punishments differ. So again, it is the power of INEC to do that. It doesn't necessarily affect the outcome of elections. At any rate, it would be the Election Petitions Tribunal that should determine that.
Okay, so now that you're suing INEC, what if nothing is being done to prosecute these people? And yeah, we just see it as another cycle, and next election comes and it's the same thing. Is there any effect that this would have on INEC, maybe weaken the system or whatever? Just, yeah.
It's not really good for our democracy, which is why it's very important to underscore that this suit is not to challenge INEC. It is not to impugn the credibility or the reputation of INEC. On the other hand, it is to strengthen it. We are calling on INEC to do what it should do, because the law says it should do it, and primarily because it would put INEC out as a competent, effective, impartial, and credible organization. This is not the last election that INEC conduct. There are elections coming in the future, both off-cycle elections and even the general elections. So this is what INEC should and can do to shore up its credibility. And I think you would agree with me that the credibility of INEC is not high presently from what Nigerians have witnessed over time. Really, it is in INEC's interest not only to do this, but to be seen by the people to do this.
Okay, well, we wish you luck. We wish Nigeria luck, because it's not for you. You're not fighting for Serap. You're fighting for Nigerians. And we do hope that INEC becomes or grows to become that impartial judge in our case. I do not know how the ordinary people can also support in the cause that you pursue as Serap. Just what role can the individuals, the citizens of Nigeria play when you're fighting these fights for us? As we wrap up,
I would say that, in fact, what you are doing presently is one of those credible things which I must praise the organizations and you individuals in the studio for. Is you are putting those issues out there for people to understand and then to talk about them. And perhaps within the context of these conversations, it will bring much more understanding for people that they need to engage the government. And using social media to engage on discussions like this also forms part of that broader strategy for people to contribute. And in those discussions, those who thought perhaps that Serap's action is politically motivated, for instance, would understand this is not about politics. In fact, this is in the interest of INEC. This is not about attacking INEC. So citizens need to understand first before they can engage. And so which side conversations like these are important. People are being educated right now, and people will continue to see the part they should play in governance by calling on government and holding the INEC to account. So I would expect that at least that people will continue this conversation and take various kinds of actions, including on social media, writing to INEC to compel INEC to do what the law says it should do in the interest of INEC and the interest of Nigerians.
All right. Well, we hope that people join the conversation and drive it, and not just for even the elections, for every other thing in Nigeria. We hope that we're having these conversations and asking our leaders to do the right thing for the growth of Nigeria. Anyways, we want to thank you. Thank you for joining us, Kolawole Oluwadare. Thank you so much.
Very much.
All right. So we'll be speaking to Oluwadare Kolawole. He is the Deputy Director for SERAP. We'll go on another quick break, but when we return, we'll be looking at our next hot topic, and you want to stay for that one. See you soon.
Did you know that Akin Lewis graduated with a first-class degree in acting and directing?
People don't know that I read drama. Actually, I have a master's degree, first class, in acting and directing.
Did you know that Akin Lewis has been in the acting profession for 49 years?
When we started acting, drama as it were, there was no money in it. Now, this is my 49th year. Yeah. There was no money in it.
Did you know that Akin Lewis has been married twice?
What, you remarried? Oh, yes, I remarried. Okay. Yes. You know, I told you I'm stable now. Calm waters, sailing. Yeah, I remarried. And I have a beautiful daughter, your father. Now. What's her name? Oba.
Did you know that Akin Lewis was almost killed during the inter-ethnic massacre preceding the Civil War?
When the pogrom started, you know that thing that led to the Civil War? Yes. I was almost killed. Matter of fact, I was killed. I was almost killed. But in the mind of the fellow who did it, he killed me already. Yeah, because what they did was, you know, as it is, I was a lot lighter, and then I have this mark. Okay. And then, so I passed easily for an Igbo boy. Wow. And that's what they didn't bother to find out. This mark, which I got from a broken bottle.
I was going to say, how did that
I fell into the gutter in years before. And so that had healed. My father said you shouldn't stitch it. And so that my eye hair. So, but when they saw it now, they thought I was evil.
Did you know that Akin Lewis is a polyglot, speaking 7 languages fluently?
You speak so many languages. Which and which?
Well, I speak Hausa. I speak French. Of course, English. Bulgarian. Yoruba, that's my mother tongue. And Creole. Which is, and Pidgin. It's a different form of Pidgin.
Okay, Creole, that's...
Yeah, from Sierra Leone.
What is it?
We're glad to know you're still there and watching The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. Now there's an issue that has become a very turning issue for a long time, even though it's being said that it's festering and it has become a really big problem nowadays. We're looking at difficulties in mental health associated with corporate begging. There's mental health on the one hand, there's corporate begging on the other hand. There's begging on the other hand, and then there's corporate begging, you know, as an addendum to that. We do have, as our guest this morning, Philip Ishiguzo Oswigwe, mental health nurse, Department of Behavioral Medicine in LASUTH. Good morning and welcome to the program, Mr. Oswigwe.
Good morning. Thank you so much. It's nice to be here. Good morning, audience and listeners at home.
Okay. Let us try to get the link between mental health and begging as a whole before we go into what we're discussing.
Thank you very much. I'd like to begin this discourse by explaining the two major aspects of it, which is begging and the mental health. Now, begging, as we know, simply means the act of asking people for money. It could be asking for food, clothing, and anything of necessity at a particular point in time. Now, that means it is an act of solicitation for money or food or any other thing by an apparent penniless person. It therefore means that it is seen as a norm in the society as long as there is genuine state of lack or poverty, as the case may be. The society accommodates this to some extent, especially when it is what I call short-term. Short-term in the sense that you might be in an examination hall, you other GCE, JAMB, promotion exam or whatever, and you have your writing materials, and all of a sudden, the pen that you are using may stop working. It is not writing again, the ink is not flowing, and you are trapped. The only option you have now is to ask your fellow, the corporate in this instance, as well as for the purpose of this discussion, is like, NGOs, you can have non-governmental organizations that solicit for sponsorship, support, or donation from corporate entities or individuals in order to achieve their objectives. It is still a form of begging with official or corporate image presentation. You cannot deny that. In the same vein, the society does not condone or tolerate any form of begging devoid of transparency, honesty, genuineness. It is considered an abomination once a case of dishonesty, deceitfulness, or lying is established. In that case, the same society that accommodates it with all sincerity of evidence and apparent-based situation that somebody is really in lack or is in need, we no longer tolerate it when it has been established. Oh, this person is just pretending. This person is lying. This person is deceiving the society. The society frowns at that. Now, there is yet another form of corporate begging, which is where we are going to be focusing more on in this discussion. This is a new breed of begging, like as published by Guardian, the Vanguard online, like which prompted this discussion, I believe. These corporate beggars take begging as a means of livelihood or long-term begging. These beggars sometimes are well-dressed, good-looking, able-bodied, middle-aged or young adults. They usually hang out around shopping malls. They could be in the markets. They even move around offices, begging for alms. Well-dressed with their suits. Most of them are even graduates. They now take it as a form of livelihood, as a means of livelihood. It becomes what they are now looking forward to, particularly when they realize that, oh, they are even making more money more than their counterparts who are in a regular or paid job, or civil servants or low-income earners. Like that publication tells us that some of them are making as much as 150,000, 300,000 naira monthly. This is a huge incentive. Now, let's now look at the mental health aspect of our discussion this morning. Mental health, according to WHO, is a state of well-being in which the individual realizes his or her own abilities, can cope with normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and is able to contribute to his or her community, according to Herman et al., 2005. Now, this simple definition of mental health by WHO, World Health Organization, has underscored the dangers inherent in corporate begging. Corporate begging now negates the meaning of mental health. For example, the individual that deliberately indulges in corporate begging is living in denial of his or her abilities to work, earn a living, or be productive, and of course, contribute meaningfully and genuinely to the community or society, legitimately. For instance, some of them, like I said before, are graduates of various disciplines. The implication of corporate begging in a long run is that it erodes the psyche of the individual, thereby making him or her lose self-confidence and personal drive to genuine career development and progression. The moment they discover that they can even earn more than their counterparts in regular paid jobs, they can become professional beggars. They want to stick to it, they want to remain there. Secondly, begging is a social problem considering overall negative effects in the society. Example, begging is akin to antisocial behavior. According to international scholars, journals published online in 2014, beggars constitute a threat to Nigerian society, especially in the cities like Lagos, Port Harcourt, Abuja, and so on and so forth, like the picture we saw in that Vanguard publication. They portray a bad image to outsiders or strangers, Some criminals, again, hide under the guise of beggars to perpetrate their evil deeds. The nefarious activities of fake beggars, such as criminals, area boys, and thugs, constitute one of the sources of civil unrest to the city dwellers. Now, let's take it to the next level. When a professional beggar, in quotes now, a professional beggar, that is someone who has decided that begging is my source of livelihood. When they lose their livelihood through government legislation or periodic raids, when they have become a nuisance in the society, when they lose their source of livelihood without an alternative source of income, it could lead to frustration. And when they are frustrated, some of them might tend to substance use and abuse, which is another kettle of fish, resulting in a huge societal disturbance. Again, some might end up being depressed. And when they are depressed, of course, you know that that's another serious mental issue. Because once depression, frustration has set in, either they tend to substance use in order for them to cope, as they will tell you. Most of them that have been encountered before, when I was working in an NGO that is into drug rehabilitation, some of them will say they did that because they feel that it will help them to cope. Whereas at the end of the day, they create more problems. Dependence, withdrawal syndromes will also set in. But most importantly is depression, which could now progress to even suicidal ideation and suicide. So this is a whole chain of societal evil. But people tend to look at it shallowly, particularly the practitioners now, the people who see corporate begging as a means of livelihood. They only look at the fact that, oh, I'm making money, not knowing that they are reducing their self-esteem. They are reducing their ability to thrive under normal circumstances, particularly those that have no form of disability. This stance does not foreclose the fact that some religious organizations, some religious beliefs see beggars as part of a means of helping them practice their beliefs by giving alms, by lending helping hands to beggars, either monetarily especially, and otherwise. Well, I don't have a problem with that. But what we are now interested more is this corporate begging that has taken another dimension. Most young adults, graduates, they dress gorgeously. I have encountered some of them personally, even in Lagos here where I stay, Ikeja under bridge and some other places, so Joelegba, Mushi and some other places. You see them well dressed, they will approach you and then create one story just to appeal to your conscience to help. And because and one thing that works for them is that they have a kind of, I don't know whether they have a kind of resistance or immunity against rejection. They know that if they approach 50 people, out of that 50, maybe 30 may reject them. The other 20 might be moved to show compassion on them. And so it keeps thriving. So at the end of the day, we end up having a society that is full of miscreants, that is contributing negatively, because some criminals now hide under the shadow of begging and then to carry out their nefarious activities.
Okay, so I know that
I want to pause here at this point. I don't know if I have communicated well enough.
Yes, very extensively. I know that I've seen so many, I mean, even in traffic and all, and I think when I was even reading this story, you're hearing of people who that is their day job. Mm-hmm. They earn a lot of money, and so they just feel, why do I need to have a corporate job when I can be a corporate beggar? However, my question is, how do we even mitigate this? How do we sensitize people to let them know that, I mean, there is more in you. You have the abilities, you have the capability to be able to be more than just begging on the street and, just looking for money that you can just get from someone. So how do we mitigate this that is happening and, just championing the fact that they can do more with their lives?
Yeah, this is an interesting aspect of the discourse because, like I said, I sometimes, as an individual, when I am stranded, I then appreciate what it takes to even beg. For example, all of a sudden you realize that you don't have a cash on you and you need to do a transaction and you need cash. You know, I find, personally, I concluded that for you to take that decision to beg somebody, to beg at that point in time, it's a burden to me. I don't know about other people, but for me, it's a very difficult thing. I find it difficult to beg, you know. But you see, now we are now looking at people who no longer cares. Their mentality is now dependent on the fact that begging is a means of making their livelihood. Now, the attraction there lies on the fact that some of them can make huge sums of money at the end of the day. This 20,000 daily, 10,000 daily, some of them make more than that daily. And then you put it all together, at the end of the month, they're making over 300,000. And then you look at the paying jobs now. Even as a civil servant, a graduate starting on level 8, you and I know what is expected, what is the package. Now, you now see that it is nowhere near that amount this so-called professional beggar is making. So that's the enticement. That's the enticement. What is important now is for the society, NGOs, even government agencies, National Orientation Agency, Ministry of Information, religious organizations, churches, mosques, and all others, seeing it as something that has negative effect because a lot of youths now are lazing about. You know, we need to start working on their mental, on their mind, the mindset. If their mind is not disabused, that, oh, you are able, you are a graduate, therefore you can do something legitimately. Government can offer platforms whereby these people, these individuals can be trained. Some NGOs are trying to organize what we call empowerment programs. I'm involved in a social welfare ministry of my church, for example. We organize empowerment programs from time to time to our teaming youths. Now, again, I cannot deny the fact that the society itself is also part of this problem. How do I mean? Look at this. Look at the Nigerian state today. Look at our society today. No jobs. Even those that have the best brains are denied of opportunities to even offer them employment. You have to bring a letter from a senator, from one politician, although you must be a candidate of a well-connected individual in the society before you can be considered for offer of job, especially in the ministries and parastatal agencies, even in the organized private sector. There is some observation that nepotism plays a role. Two people have applied for a job. The one that has the best, meet the best minimum qualification is denied because he doesn't know anybody or he belongs to a particular tribe. So the key thing is actually in having the society need to be re-engineered. Government need to wake up to their responsibilities. NGOs need to come up, or religious bodies, organizations, churches, fellowships, they can all come up and have speak with one voice. I am not condemning begging totally because there are people, of course, because of their disability, they may be what I call long-term beggars. But these ones that have the ability, they went to school, the society should find a way of accommodating them, showing them an alternative means of making and earning their livelihood. If we get it from there, from their mental states, then it's not going to be a day's job. It's going to be something that is continuous, that will be done intentionally, deliberately, to get them understand, to win them off that dependency. Because it's when it has become a corporate begging, when someone has chosen corporate begging as a career now, as a profession, you know, it's looking at what he's getting. And come to think of it, how many corporate bodies can employ a young graduate and then place him on a salary of over 400,000. Whereas in the begging industry, the profession now, he is seen close to that or more, even a little bit, maybe a little bit less than that. So that is where the problem now lies. So I believe that if the government should do more, NGOs can do more, religious bodies can do more, individuals, respected individuals, role models, all these are our celebrities. If some of them can actually become ambassadors of legitimate means of livelihood, I am quite sure to go a long way. It may not eradicate it completely, but it will reduce, it will go a long way in reducing the incidents.
Okay.
This is my own understanding of the whole thing from my own experience.
There were so many questions I wanted to ask you, but you seem to have answered all that. You proffered the solutions that we need to curb this. Now, the beggars in your description are sounding really smart and confident, you know. But the problem is that they're using the smartness and the confidence in a negative way, just like people who are doing Yahoo. Instead of using the same internet for legitimate businesses, which sometimes would even pay them more, but they just want to stay the negative way. But we'd like to thank you, Mr. Osigwe, for coming on the program this morning. It's been very enlightening. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
That was Mr. Philip Ishiguzo Osigwe, mental health nurse, Department of Behavioral Medicine in LASU, talking to us about begging and creating a connection between begging and mental health. So if you're smart enough and you're confident enough and you're not using it to contribute to the society, you just might have a mental problem because you are not exploring all your capabilities to use to better our society. That's why we draw the curtain this morning. We thank you for being there. My name is Kian.
My name is Ibrahim. See you tomorrow.
An African girl somewhere is sitting at home, accompanied by dreams that seem so far away. Africa is one of the continents with the highest out-of-school percentage in education, and girls are at an early disadvantage. The sub-Saharan Africa records about 18 million out-of-school girls. This gender gap extends to the tech space with a projection of only a 33% global female workforce representation in tech firms for 2022. Let us help change the stories and numbers. Africa Agility's Project Train a Girl campaign is working to help train African girls in tech. You can donate as little as $2 or 2,000 naira to help a girl in tech get her heels in the door. Visit www.africaagility.rallyup.com/PTAG to donate.
Transportation in major cities in Nigeria has taken a different turn since the introduction of ride-hailing services enabled by technology. It has provided employment for many and made transportation easier and relatively cheaper. However, because of its peculiarity, the dynamic between drivers and passengers comes with its own conflicts. Drivers and passengers often complain about their interactions with one another. Many issues like courtesy on the part of passengers and drivers, being kept waiting for too long, where a passenger chooses to sit for the ride, the direction of the trip, and many more are some of the causes for conflict in this short relationship. Lawo, a hail ride driver, shares some of his experiences.
At times, some of them will set location. The map or the app will automatically give them another location. So by the time you get to the location, on the address, you call them, they tell you, sorry, I'm sorry, I should have told you. The map used to do like that, used to take people to another state, go and turn and come back. You know, that can be ridiculous. And at times, you know, the Lagos traffic, whatever, that the route you pass now, or probably before you even got through, it was hell. Now, having to go back, it can be very irritating.
How is this relationship supposed to be navigated? Mutual respect is key, and under no circumstances should riders or drivers disrespect the other. Riders should respect the vehicle they are in and should leave the vehicle in the condition in which they found it. Unruly behavior such as damaging the vehicle is not tolerated. Using bad language is also not tolerated. Being aggressive or discriminatory can also get a rider banned from using the app. Although friendly conversation doesn't do any harm during a trip, respect should be upheld at all times. Both riders and drivers should give each other space and should not make each other feel uncomfortable. Getting to a destination safely is a top priority. This is why drivers need to adhere to the rules of the road, for example, by sticking to the speed limit, not driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs, not texting while driving. Drivers should always take a break if they are tired. Riders should play their part by wearing their seatbelts and not trying to cram in extra people when there aren't enough seatbelts. Riders also need to refrain from bringing alcohol or banned substances into the vehicle and should not ask a driver to go faster than the speed limit. As a rider, request your ride inside. To minimize the time that you're standing outside by yourself with your phone in your hand, instead, wait inside until the app shows that your driver has arrived. Check your ride. Every time you take a trip, ensure you're getting into the right car with the right driver by matching the license plate, car make and model, and driver photo with what's provided on your app. Have the driver confirm your name. In addition to the check your ride safety steps, you can also ask the driver to confirm your name before you get in the car. Your driver sees your first name in your app and your driver's first name is displayed to you in your app. Be a backseat rider. Whenever possible, sit in the back seat, especially if you're riding alone. This helps ensure that you can safely exit on either side of the vehicle to avoid moving traffic, and it gives you and your driver some personal space. Share your trip details with loved ones. While en route, tap Share Trip Status in the app to share your driver's name, photo, license plate, and location with a friend or family member. Be kind and respectful. Please respect fellow passengers and your driver and their car. As for drivers, here are the standard procedures required.
After a rider books a ride, you drive immediately to the location. And then until you get to the location, you don't click arrive, which most drivers, that is where they have their own faults too. So immediately they pick your ride, they click arrive. And normally, the app owners have given 5 minutes of grace. The moment you get to a place, after 5 minutes, the person doesn't come out. It will start charging the person a certain amount of money. So but by the time you click arrive, when getting to the location will take you 9 minutes, and you have clicked arrive. So 4 minutes into his own time, you have started charging him, and you have not even at the location yet. Now, that is actually not good, which I hardly do. The only time I do it is when I'm booked in an estate, and I get to the gate, and they say, call the person to come out. Immediately before I call the person, I click arrive, because that's the estate. So I'm having to navigate my way through that, his own cup of tea. When I click arrive, then the person has 5 minutes before he will start being charged by the app. So after 5 minutes that I've clicked arrive, the person will start being charged. Then once the person gets in and will click start, then I'll ask the person, can we move? He say yes. Then I'll click starting up of the trip. So once I click on that, the trip starts.
Good morning. My name is Nyamgul Agaji. This is the News Brief, President Bola Tinubu has urged Nigerians not to exploit the country's current economic situation for abnormal profit. The president said this during an interview on Sunday. Prices of commodities and the cost of living have risen steadily since Tinubu announced the removal of petrol subsidy in May. In October, the federal government launched conditional cash transfers to 15 million households to alleviate the effect of the economic crunch. The policy sparked debate on social media, with many criticizing it. Defending the scheme, Tinubu said college, one of the 31 colleges of the University of Cambridge, Professor Ochegbu, renowned for her innovative work in nanoparticle drug delivery, is currently a professor of pharmaceutical nanoscience at University College London, UCL. President Tinubu celebrates the outstanding accomplishments and commends Professor Ochegbu for being an excellent ambassador for the country and for her relentless efforts to advance the frontiers of pharmaceutical science. The president applauds Professor Ochegbu as epitomizing the ingenuity, brilliance, and hard work that are consistently synonymous with the great Nigerian people, both at home and abroad. The former chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Professor Tahiru Jega, has called on Nigerians to put heads together and ensure the country is restructured before the 2027 general elections. He said power devolution to the subnationals was critical for the country to develop. He spoke on Saturday while delivering the convocation lecture at the Bauchi State University, Gadao, on the theme, Safeguarding Nigeria's Future, Prioritizing Citizens' Welfare and Security Amidst Challenges.
I have a section in the paper where I have clearly delineated with statistics to show how lack of these values and orientation, how bad governance, and how lack of good leadership actually is pushing Nigeria towards becoming a failed state. As I have said, I don't believe Nigeria is a failed state, but I think, and we need to realize that Nigeria is a failing state. Nigeria is a failing state. And if we don't take care and we put it in jeopardy, we can't safeguard it, then the worst can happen, God forbid. So my argument is that between now and 2027, we need to pull our heads together, have a reasoned, rational, evidence-based process of restructuring the Nigerian Federation.
Jega lamented the high cost of governance must be addressed to safeguard Nigeria's future, adding that there was an urgent need to reduce power concentration at the federal level.
The thing we need to do is actually to deconcentrate power and the resources from the federal tier and spread them to the state and local governments. Even if all we do is to go back to the way in which power was distributed in the 1963 Constitution, we should do that. But I even think we should go beyond that, because we need to reduce the power of the federal government, because in fact that power of the federal government, in which whoever is elected president controls virtually all the resources, creates the reality, but more importantly the perception that those are used against one group vis-a-vis the other.
Amid the political crisis rocking Rivers State, ex-Governor Nyesom Wike has warned politicians not to pull their ladder they used in getting to exalted positions. Wike, who has been embroiled in a dispute with his successor, Siminalayi Fubara, spoke at his residence in Port Harcourt while addressing the traditional ruler of Ogba land, who had come to felicitate with him on the occasion of his birthday. The chiefs and other members of the traditional institution from Ogba land in Ogba Egbema Ndoni local government area of the state were led by the traditional ruler Nwachukwu Nnamobi III, who sued for peace in the state.
No politician, me and my team will accept peace, but will not allow ourselves to be dragged down. Because when we go down, who will protect our people? In everywhere you are, as even the traditional institution here, there are rules. You can't run away from it. There are rules. And those in politics within the political group you belong, there are also rules. You cannot say that because an Alba has emerged and then an Alba will not follow the rules of the traditional institution. So also in politics, there are things you must not do. There are things you must do. Except for sound music, don't put the ladder that you use in climbing. When you put the ladder, when you want to come down, the ladder may not be there. And leave the ladder too, so other people can also climb the same ladder.
The state cannot afford the amount of noise that is going on. We cannot afford not being in peace. If you recall where you found the state when you were made a governor, we moved from those crises to a point where we had gained stability. So much so, some investors are thinking of coming back to the state. I am not sure it's in the interest of the state or anybody whatsoever that the state begins to witness another round of political turmoil. I need you, I need the state governor to please, whatever it is, can be discussed and settled. This state must move forward. Everyone must be respected. It's on this note I also call on those who pretend to be elders of the state and those who are political actors. I understand that many people feed when there is crisis. They take things from here to there because it's in their nature to be so. We must have such men in society. But we can no longer afford that dance. It's a dance of the deaf and the mad. So every one of them who is a mischief maker, finding the ambers of problem, should please stop.
9 commissioners out of 19 appointed into the cabinet of Governor Siminalayi Fubara of Rivers State have resigned their offices. The gale of resignations had hit the state's executive council following the political crisis between the governor of the state, Fubara, and his predecessor, the Minister of Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike. As at the time of this report, 9 of the commissioners who were brought and reportedly sticking to Wike left their offices in a shocking turn of events. They include Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Professor Zacchaeus Adango, among others. Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly, Edison Ehie, has formally notified the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, on the vacancies that exist in the Assembly. This is following the declaration of the seats of Martin Amaule and 24 others as vacant as a result of their defection to the All Progressives Congress, APC. He emphasized that there is no conflict between or within the PDP that warrants defection of any lawmaker in the House. He said the decision to declare the seats vacant was in line with Section 109, Sub 1G and 2 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended. He called on the INEC to conduct fresh elections to fill the vacant seats, asserting the need for the rightful representation of the people. In the meantime, the Ijaw Youth Council IYC has warned those allegedly hatching the plots to impeach Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara to halt the illegal process or face the consequences of their actions. The IYC President, Dr. Theophilus Alaye, urged members of the Rivers State House of Assembly to be rational in their quest to carry out their legislative duties. Alaye also urged President Bola Tinubu to, as a matter of urgency, intervene and return peace to the warring factions of the Rivers State House of Assembly.
Through the back door. If it works in other states, it can never work here in Rivers State. We don't want Rivers State to engulf into crisis because Rivers State is too important to the Ijaw nation and the Ijaw people. And we won't permit, we won't allow any person, any group of persons put Rivers State into crisis. So we won't allow that to happen. Those persons that will want to go and carry out that kangaroo impeachment or notice of impeachment, we have over 30 million Ijaw youth to contend with first before we will allow that to happen. And that is our position. We won't allow backyard kangaroo impeachment to have its way. is if people respect or do not respect court orders, if it doesn't work in other states, here in Rivers State, that will not fly.
While expressing deep concern over the incident in the state, Alaye spoke on the development of Ijaw youth through capacity building programs and vocational skills.
If true federalism is being practiced, I don't think we will be asking federal government any question. We will bring back the entire fight to our people at the doorstep. And that is why you see that we are still maintaining our stand. That we want resource control. But what we have to say is that our youth are our priority. The youth in every society is the strength of that society. And as a president, under my watch, we want to see how our youth are meaningfully engaged in terms of gaining meaningful jobs in IOCs, in government parastatals. We want our youth to have the educational qualification. That means we will be looking for more scholarship opportunities for them so that they can go and study and get well-grounded to defend the Ijaw nation at every given point in time.
On all the women in Ijaw nation, both in Rivers State and all Ijaw extraction, to put their hands together to support the IYC leadership, the council, to ensure that we come up with developmental programs to better our lives and our region. And all the women in Rivers State to stand behind our governor to ensure that he is able to deliver the mandate that was given to him by Rivers people, and he can't do that all by himself. The women hold a larger number in every region. So if we rally around the governor and give him our support, he will be able to deliver what has been given to him as our mandate.
The Progressive Yoruba Youth Congress has urged Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu to publicly condemn the actions of his appointee, Nyesom Wike, in the ongoing political crisis in Rivers State. In a press conference on Sunday, the Yoruba youth expressed concern that the president's silence might lead many to assume his support for Wike's actions. The group said President Tinubu should openly denounce the assault on democracy in Rivers State and direct all government institutions to act in accordance with the law. It also called on the 27 Rivers lawmakers who defected to reconsider their actions.
President Tinubu should call Nyesom Wike to order by insisting that he focuses on his current assignment as the Minister of FCT, a role that he has neglected while focusing on being the puppet master of Rivers State. We call on the 27 former Rivers State House of Assembly members to seek no proper legal guidance on the choices available to them going forward, since it appears they are not beneficiaries of sound legal counsel based on their past and ongoing actions.
If people do not take care of the environment, it will fight back in different forms, hence the need for all hands to be on deck to protect it. This advice came up during a cleanup exercise at the Alpha Beach in Lagos. Residents were charged with the need to ensure a clean environment and proper waste management, which will go a long way to protecting not just the health of the earth, but humans in general.
Trash left on the beach is not just unattractive, it can wash them into a symbol. If they clean up the beach, they are preserving the aquatic life and also the future generations. Nigeria is estimated to generate about 2.5 million tons of plastic waste annually. Plastic accounts for 15% of the total waste generated in Lagos State. Olakbeju Ibekwe is passionate about the health of the environment. Her foundation has over time organized sensitizations such as this to change the narrative of endangerment of the environment. Ibekwe speaks on the dangers of plastic pollution as she hints that this cleanup is holding simultaneously across 27 other states.
We live at a time that it's getting increasingly scary, that if we do not take care of the environment, it's going to fight back. And this is in different forms. Today we're at Alpha Beach, and we've been reliably informed that just some time ago there was an ocean surge that really made residents to flee this area. This has been ongoing for a while. It is time for everyone to be intentional about protecting the environment. So what you are doing whenever you throw plastic away carelessly or do not manage plastic properly is that you are creating a hazard that can live well beyond your time. That is why it is important for us to manage our plastic properly.
For the state government, effective collaboration with relevant stakeholders is a sure way to go to sustaining the environment. Other stakeholders are unanimous that cleaning up of the environment, including the beaches, should be domesticated so it will not be an occasional habit.
We know the challenges we have with our environment, waste management issues, pollution issues, and the likes. Abuses, contraventions that has really put the entire society or environment in a big mess. So we cannot but collaborate from the Ministry of Environment. We cannot but collaborate with responsible agencies and bodies that are willing to come up with initiatives that help us, set the damages on the reverse.
I think we need to make it cultural. We need to make it a habit. First, to stop littering the environment with all kinds of refuse, and make it a point of duty to clean, to join the cleaning. Not only when we have special events and activity like this, but periodically, because it's in the interest of everyone.
We don't just do it one-off, we do it very consistently. I recall that sometimes this year we were also at the Elegushi Beach, and we had that very event, which was also very colorful, and we also cleaned up that beach. And this is one of so many of the auditions that is happening. Again, if you want to look into the entire global environmental impact or the importance across, the SDG goals, this is one of the importance is keeping our environment very clean.
Through this regular cleanup exercise at the beach, Olakpeju and her foundation has succeeded in reducing poverty and producing an alternative source of income for the women and the youths involved by picking up and selling plastic wastes. Justin Akadoni, Plus TV News, Lagos.
We now move to other parts of Africa. Congo's president says he has confidence that Wednesday's vote will be rolled out credibly as tension mounts, that a severe lack of electoral preparation could throw the conflict-ridden nation into disarray. Some 44 million people, almost half the population, are expected to vote for Congo's next president in the country's fourth election since civil and regional wars ended in the early 2000s. Yet, the election is facing enormous logistical problems, sparking concern it could impact its credibility, say locals and Congo experts. Thousands of polling stations might not have the materials they need, upping the chances of contested results. Outside Africa, North Korea has fired its most advanced long-range missile, defying UN curbs. The launch of the solid-fuel intercontinental ballistic missile drew immediate condemnation from the West. It landed west of Hokkaido in Japan. It comes after South Korea and U.S. defense officials met last week to update plans on how to respond to a nuclear attack from the north. Pyongyang had said it would take more offensive countermeasures. From Israel comes the report that the forces have launched deadly attacks up and down the Gaza Strip, hitting a refugee camp in the north, a hospital in the south, and killing a teenage girl who had lost her leg in an earlier airstrike. The strikes on the Jabalia refugee camp in northern Gaza killed 90 Palestinians on Sunday, Gaza's health ministry spokesman told Reuters. Another missile attack on a house belonging to Shebab family killed 24 people. The son of Dawab Shehab, a spokesman of Hamas ally Islamic Jihad, was among the dead, an official from the group told Reuters. A medic said dozens of people had been killed or wounded in the Shehab family home and nearby buildings. In business news, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NEC, has shown that electricity consumers in the country paid a total of 267.61 billion naira for electricity in the third quarter of 2023. The latest report released by NEC at the weekend also showed that due to the absence of a cost-reflective tariff, the federal government incurred a subsidy cost of 204.59 billion naira over the same period under review. According to the report, the total revenue collected by all discos in 2023 third quarter was 267.61 billion naira out of the 349.55 billion naira that was billed to customers, which translated to a collection efficiency of 76.56%. The report also revealed that all discos except Eko and Abuja recorded improvements in collection efficiency in Q3 of 2023 compared to the second quarter of 2023. In entertainment news, the family of Nollywood star or actor John Okafor, popularly known as Mr. Ibu, has debunked reports that his second leg has been amputated and he is in a critical condition. Earlier reports said Mr. Ibu had a second amputation on the same leg and there was a significant decline in his health, including the inability of speaking properly. Reacting to the rumors, the family of Mr. Ibu released a statement on Saturday evening debunking all reports that the thespian is battling with diabetes and was amputated on both legs. According to the statement, the veteran actor is battling with blood clotting in his leg and other health challenges posing a risk to his life. The family added that Mr. Ibu was tagged not fit to fly and is currently being treated in one of the biggest and best hospitals in Nigeria. And finally, sports news. Nigeria's senior men's basketball national team, the Tigers, has been grouped in Group B for the upcoming 2025 FIBA AfroBasket qualifiers. Following their absence from the 2024 Olympic Games, the Tigers are gearing up to return to action in February next year. FIBA Africa has officially announced the draw and dates for the qualifiers scheduled to commence next year. The initial qualifying window is set for February 19 to 27, 2024, with the participation of Groups B, E, and D. Subsequently, Group A and C will enter the fray during their first qualifying window from November 18 to 26, 2024. The concluding window for these qualifiers is scheduled from February 17 to 25, 2025. Notably, the hosting countries for these qualification windows are yet to be determined, adding an element of anticipation to the upcoming basketball event. And that's the news brief. For more stories, please follow us on Facebook, X, and Instagram, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa and Plus TV Africa Lifestyle. You can also view us from Limex on limex.tv and Glow TV apps anywhere in the world. My name is Nyamgul Agaji. Thanks for being there.
It for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bukky November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
don't know what this sport in Nigeria.
See how your body just dripping diamond.
Nigeria jollof is the #1 jollof in the whole wide world.
To be honest, I've not tried Ghana jollof, but I think Nigerian. But no, I don't think Nigerian jollof is the best. It's the baddest. It originated from us. Am I right?
I've actually tried Ghanaian jollof, and I must stick to Nigerian jollof rice. Period.
I'm not biased. Nigerian jollof is the Ghanaian one is too brown and it's too mushy. Our own is, the grains they spread, and they taste nice. I trust our own is on point.
Nigerian, you say they want. See, say Ghana jollof they go use gas, but if they use arrow with the smell of the effing go enter and it goes sweet. I just don't know what to say. I'm just happy. I just feel like crying.
Well, I haven't had Ghanaian jollof, but just Nigerian jollof. And I'll be honest, I'm not a jollof rice fan. I think jollof rice is overrated. I know you guys will be angry. I know you don't want to hear it, but the truth is, fried rice is the best. So
you're setting me up, bro.
Nigerian jollof is just babe. Nigerian jollof.
Nigerian jollof. Nigerian jollof.
Because you're looking for love, what's going on? Talk your own, she not going to beat you.
Why are you setting me up? No, but real. Nigerian jollof. Nigerian party jollof. Bottom pot. That's almost burnt. Almost burnt.
Burnt, where you scrape it.
But it has to be the rice that hasn't burnt, that hasn't darkened yet. So it's not bottom pot. That flavor.
Any day, Nigerian jollof,
Is it because you're Nigerian?
Because I've tasted both, and I prefer the Nigerian jollof.
Abraham, Moses, Jacob, you are one family.
You don't know what this sport in Nigeria.
See how your body just dripping diamond.
At the moment, the nation's economy is not smiling on anyone, with inflation standing at 28.20%. In Nigeria, unemployment has proved a difficult statistic to interpret. Nigeria's unemployment rate stood at 33.3% in the fourth quarter of 2020. However, the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, recently reported unemployment rate of 5.3% in the fourth quarter of 2022 and 4.1% in the first quarter of this year, based on the new Nigeria Labour Force Survey, NLFS. Now is the right time to start a side business or job, because it never hurts to have multiple income streams, especially when you are building a business. Having a side job or two can be an excellent way to keep money coming in, easing your anxiety and lessening some financial burdens. Today on the show, I will bring you insight from the chat I had with a serial entrepreneur and the founder of the Joint Professional Training and Support International Limited, JPTS. Welcome to Business Insight on Plus TV Africa. I am Justin Akadonye. Welcome back. Now, first off, real estate developers and brokers have been urged to do their due diligence before buying properties in order to safeguard themselves and their client from falling prey from unscrupulous individuals. This advice was given by the billionaire realtor group on the sidelines of the Rexlington Awards night. Details in this report. As with tradition for year-ends, it is not unusual for organizations to celebrate and award people for outstanding performances. The atmosphere is relaxed and a time to talk about dominating the future.
Very important for us to emphasize that it's going to be a panel session where we talk more about the journey of becoming a sales superstar.
It begins with a panel session which focuses on the journey to becoming a sales superstar and the role the organizers have played. Guest speaker, Surveyor General Lagos State, Adesina Ayokunu, speaks on collaborating with the government for sustainable housing development.
Special mention must be made of the Lagos State Real Estate Regulatory Authority, that is called LESREA, which was established to eliminate the activities of impostors, fraudsters, and supposed accredited real estate agents who adopt sham practices in their operations.
For you that do business is easy. When the pastor shuts down the church for 3 months because there's nobody to pay the rent, and he's telling you that God will do your own, hope you know you don't have faith. There'll be no faith in it at all. But down the line, and this is the power of consistently applying yourself and the principles that are shown. Down the line, today is a different story. Today we have 225 staff.
For the organizers, the real estate landscape is dynamic, ever evolving, and this year was a time to navigate challenges while emerging stronger and more resilient. They say the theme dominates the future, encapsulates the drive throughout the year, and the determination to not just adapt to change but to shape it. Issues concerning the real estate sector take center stage.
We celebrate all our realtors and developers, and we also bring in keynote speaker to make them know that they can do more than what they are doing at the moment, and they can become better in what they do. We make sure that every property that we sell out there, we make sure that we do our due diligence on them, so that when you buy property, you buy the right property. It's not that you buy property today and in tomorrow you'll be having issues with what you buy.
I always say this, that the best way for you to own property is when you buy through an off-plan process. There's something we call off-plan houses with as low as maybe 5 million, 3 million, depending on the initial deposit the development company is asking for. You can actually own a home. So, and you can then key into the payment spread system that they have.
What we would like government to do to assist us is the area of regularization of land, and put the right policy in place to make it seamless for people in terms of running of doing search on documentation, and when the client wants to buy real estate properties, to make it more easier for them to run search.
At the end of the day, excellence was rewarded and lives transformed. Welcome back now. My guest, Christopher Irene Imomolen, is the Ado of Abaji, an educationist, a university professor, a serial entrepreneur, a business mogul, and a Nigerian politician. He is the founder of the Joint Professional Training and Support International Limited, JPTS, and Unique Foundation, a non-profit, non-governmental organization. I recently had a chat with him on coping with inflation as Nigerians have taken to gigs and entrepreneurship. Take a look.
Yes, it's a major way to go. It is a major way to go. Like we always say, governments still have their role to play. Creating an enabling environment. Yes, it's not just about loan. Creating an enabling environment. Once an enabling environment is created, people can easily implement their thoughts. Entrepreneurship, it's about having an idea to solve a problem and generate wealth through solving problems, providing services for people. So I want the youth to begin to look at entrepreneurship not just as wanting to be their own boss alone, because we need to. I've seen a lot of young people who are more entitled driven than profit driven. When I started my company, it took me so much time before I could even indicate that I was the CEO of the company, because I felt that I was too young and people might not believe that I do such a thing. So when I talk to people, I rather tell them, oh, I'm a staff, even in my own company. So they believe me more. Oh, yes, okay. It means that there's a big boss somewhere. If I was the boss. So you see,
young people of 21 already putting CEO. So it's for them, and they're not making any. So to them, is so entrepreneurs should be looking at profit. They should be more profit oriented than just. The time will come, you become the CEO of your company. So you want to solve a problem, and we are in a country that has numerous problems. So it's actually an opportunity for Nigerian youth to be more entrepreneurial now. Their problem with power, their problem with just thinking of the easiest way to do what we currently do is creating opportunity for yourself, and now making sure that what you do is being patronized by so many people. The place of plenty. So we talk about Facebook, we talk about this. It's just about having much subscriber. And one of the good things that happened to us in this generation is the advent of social media. Social media has now made it very easy. When we talk about musicians like Onyeka Onwenu, you begin to wonder how were those people able to market their products in those days when there was no social media. Now you talk about Rema, you talk about Wizkid. I don't think any of us have their CD, but everybody's listening to their song. So you can see, even if they release a song today, how was Ebenezer Obey? How were they able to do it those days? How were Okosun, Sonny Okosun? How were they able to do it those days? But now, somebody will release a song in 1 minute and it's everywhere. So the technology, the AI technology, robotics and the rest of them is really making entrepreneurship easy. It's a necessary development. You know why? Entrepreneurs of today must know that things are hard. One, it's either you increase salary very well so that those staffs you have are well paid, or you give them a way to enable them also have side gigs. You must. If you don't do that, believe me, you have staff stealing from what they are doing. One of the major reasons why there is high level of theft, compromise, disloyalty at workplace today is because of economic hardship. People are trying to survive. So they are tempted. Even the Bible says that I will not allow a saint to go through trials too long so that he will not put his hand in iniquity. You can see. So if you have a saint even in your company today and it's any 100,000, 150,000, 40,000, whatever, and it's not even enough to pay transport, and you don't give him that room and tell him, okay, don't worry, from henceforth I want you guys to close by 4. Don't come on Saturday and Sunday so that you can have time to do whatever I want to do. Deliberately create it for them. If you don't do that, they will start picking from your organization. So it's a necessary development that must be encouraged by even bosses now. Yes, you must encourage them. We now see people who now work remotely. Yes, if you know that some of your staff don't necessarily need to come to the office, you can still pay them. Allow them. See, things are changing now. You need to change with the change. If you don't, your business will die. And so for staff also, it's also a good time for them to. There's a lot of jobs out there. Locate all those websites where you can work remotely. Get those skills needed. A lot of companies, there are websites like Fiverr and Fiverr, a lot of them that you can pick up a tax, get paid in dollars. There's so many things. So get to learn those skills. Let me tell you something deep. Many entrepreneurs you see do well today actually stumbled into what opened a way for them. They were not initially, they never knew. I'm telling you, many stumbled and they got, a lot of them are still doing that same thing. When they find it difficult to even do something else, when they dabble into some other business, they run into loss. Some might be lucky. That tells you that even those who are entrepreneurs who are making it also could have that notion until something started working. If you don't start it, you will not know if it will work. So those who have the opinion that I don't think I am, they are wrong. The reason is because they have not. They might fail in 1 or 2 or 3 things. They should keep doing it. Thomas Edison did, as he had over 1,000 experiments to discover the light bulb, said it was the 1,001. At 900, he would have said, this is not my calling, and he give up. Every failed experiment leads is a step towards success. You need to know that. They need to change that mindset. Yes, I have tried it before, it didn't work. That doesn't mean that I am not. Yes, see, let me tell you, what is even entrepreneurship? Even that boss you think is a boss is working for somebody. Even, for example, talk about TV station. Even the boss is working for, we all need to work for somebody at a time, even in our business that we call ourselves a boss. So that is it. So even the position you sit and say you're correct salary, you're even a boss in that place. You don't know. You are serving a cause. So we can all do something. We need to change that mindset. Whoever have that mindset, you need to change it. What you need to do is keep engaging yourself in different things. No matter how much you fail, keep trying. One day you get it done. And some people said it's difficult for them to learn that skills. It's also a wrong notion. See, anything you need to learn that will bring success your way, you just have to learn it. Do you know there was a time opening a Facebook account was very complicated? To open a Google was complicated to many people, but you need to deliberately look at it, and suddenly it becomes easy for you. So let us have an open mind. There's nothing too complicated. Every complicated system has a unit. Once you understand the unit, you put the unit together and you know the system. So we just need to know it.
Momolen also shared on convertible skill set and what role capacity building plays in all of this, as well as financing. We'll bring you details of that after this break. Stay with us.
There's a thin line between wanting to do what you're currently doing. For example, we see a lot of people who work. I have staffs, for example, some of them are here listening. So since our boss said we should go and work, then they want to go and do the same thing they are doing here, to sabotage what they are doing here. That's not what we mean. Even if you're going to do something, it must not be something that would defy the contract you have with what you are. For example, you might be working in media, and you're a public speaker. That doesn't stop you from speaking. And they can see there's a, but it's not like, oh, you want to, so that must be well defined. Then number two, the role of capacity development is key. And how can we develop our capacity? It's an inherent talent we have, developing it. Some people even say that there's no talent. You must brush up that which you have. You know, when talent don't work hard works win. You get someone who work hard can be more successful than someone who is talented and never worked hard. True. So working hard to build that talent, it's what matters. But the first is to realize your talent. There's many people who don't even know what they have. I've met a lot of young people out there. I ask them, what is your gift? What area? Where is your strength? Say they don't know. Many, 90% of the youth don't even know. Everybody's just doing what everybody's doing. I want to do TikTok because Mr. B is doing it. Some people it work for them like that. But first, you need to know what you have. I got to know that I had the strength in marketing because I was serving as a fellowship leader in my university days. I was public secretary. And when I got that role, I said, wow, I can market, I can say anything. So I had to build that strength. I haven't discovered that. You discover your strength through volunteering, through active. Just keep doing things. Anywhere you find yourself, try to take a lead. When you do that, you know where you are weak and where you are strong. You cannot discover yourself when you are not participating in a thing. And I say, it's so sad that so many youth will not want to do anything except they are paid. There's a time you must sacrifice. There's a time you get the reward. You must know those things. So when you're able to know, you might have multiple talents in speaking, you might have talent, and sometimes you might not even have talent. Necessity can even make you develop that skills. Yes, we see people go to public speaking schools. Nothing is wrong from you having a coach. You want to become like a pastor, like this pastor, enroll under that coach. It's a pity that we live in a country where pastors now become coach, even business coach. Pastors are spiritual leaders. They are not lawyers. They cannot advise you on legal cases. Pastors cannot advise you on businesses, except they have business or we have some pastors. But they are business coaches. In foreign countries, you have people who pay so much to have a coach. When you have a coach, the coach teach you the rope, so you don't make so much mistakes to succeed. You get? So you can also enroll to have a coach. Look at somebody that have made it. Sincerely serve that person. Take that. I'm not talking about a mentor. A mentor is not from a coach. A mentor is somebody you look on to, but may not have time to teach you. But a coach is somebody who will tell you this, and you must be ready to learn. There are many daily needs products that people are now Amazon affiliate marketers. People are making so much money from affiliate marketing. You get, it's a big one. Number two is becoming a travel consultant. We now have a lot of Nigerians who want to travel to study abroad, who travel to Canada. Yes, traveling consultant means it doesn't mean that you are the one presenting the visa. They are legal travel consultants who give advice and make money from getting admissions from students abroad is huge because making you to want to Japan. So it's a big one also. Affiliate is one, travel consultant in another, telecommunication. We have a lot of businesses in telecommunication industries. You see a lot of people who do POS. Recently, I sent 100 POS to someone in Safran. And the guy I said, wow. I said, he sent to him, and I sent 100 POS through a particular plan. I said, give it to them. Each persons of these women were making about 3,000, 4,000 per day. Imagine if they are even remitted to him, maybe half of it. Imagine what you're making times 100 times. Like, it's even making more money. So there are little businesses out there that are needed on a daily basis. We talk about exportation. We have Nigerians in London, in UK, in US that needs our food. You can also study the business of exportation. We have solid minerals. We are now getting more alert with the gold that we have in Safara. Golds are in Abuja. Golds are in Osun. We have Columbite. Why can't you also just pick a bag and say, I'm going to a location and let me see what happens, get my license from, get a land use and get license, make it, and start doing. There are many Chinese that are looking for this opportunity. We have the food businesses, the farm to the market. It's not being regulated. You see, a yam is being sold in Benue for 200 naira. That same yam get to Port Harcourt or any other city and it's being sold at 1,500. How can't you go inside the bush? See, there's a problem in Yoruba that says that, oh, wait, it means that the money you make from what's it called? Physics does not smell. So you see people still want to wear this tie. There's so much money. Talk about real estate. You can start owning your land at cheap price. Go to local owners and say, give me this land. I'll pay you back when I sell it. And advertise. People want to buy plot because people believe that if we are in a country where people believe in inheritance, I must buy land. Not because they don't have something. The other day I was talking to people and I said, have you guys made it? They said we have not made it. I said, what do you have that makes you feel that at least you've achieved? One of the things they mention is land. People feel that once they have a landed property, it's an achievement. So why can't? So there's numerous things that one can do. Restaurant business is key. Like you say, online sales, online of food. People, we have Omalata, who supplies food here and there. There are so many business. Crèche schools is good business. You can start crèche in your house. People are doing it now. Like you have a flat and you have just one room you are using. There's nothing wrong. You can use 2 rooms, buy chairs, just register a business name, go to Ministry of Education, just notify them. It's legal already. And you can start having 6-10 children there. There's nothing too small to start with. When you start, you understand it better. From there, you move to the next level. There are businesses that can never afford up. Schooling, people must go to school. People must eat every day. You see? These two business, health also, and health is too regulated. So there are so many things. I will not advise anybody to go into car sales business now because many persons who have bought cars. Cars have now so expensive. People are now, nobody's even selling their car. They repair their local car. Upgrade is what they are doing now. So there are so many things that can be done. Once you discover your talent, you can market your talent, monetize your talent, and stop value your talent too. If you know that you're a musician, you don't need to start singing anyhow every way. Don't make it cheap. Let people, before people hear you sing, scarcity brings value. When something is not scarce, there's no value. So when you have this talent, make it scarce. Don't make it cheap. Yes, so those are part of the ways to monetize what you have. I'm going to talk as a local man here. I'm not going to say things that are very theoretical that is not realistic. Yes, we see people go for banks, they get loan using loan app. I don't really advise anybody to start a business with such finances. For me, my own personal principle, truth be said, I have never collected loan to run my business, never in my life. But I believe that, well, it could get to a level where I need loan just to improve. But to start, well, it might work for people. But the best form of capital is reputation. When you have reputation as a person, when people trust you, people will be ready to deliver to you and allow you to pay later. I'm telling you. Okay. There are many people doing business because capital money is what you need to buy something from somebody. I'm telling you, there are people that can. Let me give an example. Do you know that this unemployment we are talking about does not really affect people from the East? They don't understand what's called unemployment because they have a system that works there, which is called what's called apprenticeship system. Except those that go to school that's waiting. But the local system in the East, the Igbo people, they serve them. So I don't know if you go to them and talk about unemployment, they don't understand unemployment. Their unemployment is that they don't have an uncle that will take them to serve them for 10 years and settle them. That's the system. Except those that have gone to school that are now waiting for. But I'm talking about the grassroots. So, and that's what we trust. So somebody met me and said, I want to start selling pure water. Please give me 500 naira. I said, sister, walk with that woman. Tell that woman, give me one packet. I will come back with your money. If people can trust you, they will deliver their product to your hands. What I mean by the Igbos, many Igbos who are so rich today got the trust of Chinese people those days. And they were able to send them content. Some of them did not have 1 naira. Even the flight money to travel to China, they didn't have. I can tell you stories of many billionaires today. They started their business with that. They didn't have money. And before you can earn that trust, you must be able to speak confident to the person who is going to deliver that to you, to make you know that you are somebody that can multiply. All of us who are doing it, we need people to trust. The biggest challenge at a particular level of business is trust. When you find people you can trust, you will deliver that wealth to them. Yes, that is very key. So once you can develop trust by itself is a currency for exchange in business. So look at yourself, because we don't become great by who we know. It is by what people know us of. It is not who we know, it is who knows you, what they know you to be. And a lot of people know billionaire, yet they are not billionaire. We used to, it's who you know. No, it's not who you know, it is who knows you. And who knows you means what do they know of you? So that is very key, that is the most important thing. It is in that way family members can even now believe in your dream. That is a family member says, oh, because the best form of capital supporting is when you go to people that knows you before. I want to do this. If they know you as a, they will give you something. There was time I wanted to employ a driver. I said, go and bring a guarantor. He said, sir, nobody can guarantee me. Nobody. So and you want us to employ you? I said, I've done so much bad. Nobody wants to stand for me. Then you cannot employ you. So when first is to capital, you need self-trust. Work on yourself. If you are someone that are not be too straightforward to people before, if you are trying to change your attitude, if you want to go to business, believe me, you cannot make it far if you are not a straightforward person. Instead, you want to go into a business that is not straightforward. But if you want to go into a genuine business to make it and have the trust of your customer to do business with you, you must work on your attitude. Be a good person. Let people know you for what you are. Be trustworthy. Let your word be your word. Then after that, family member donation is key. I don't want you to go into a business where you take loan, especially in this time where come on me today and you stress you out, you cannot pay back, you'll be frustrated. But when family members support you and it's not loan, okay. Because somebody might say, I need 500,000, I give the person 100,000, and the person was angry. I said, why? If you have 5 people like me, give you 500, you don't need to loan 500,000. True. So why are you angry? I've given 500,000. So talk to that 4 people that can trust you. Then you will face that business without looking at, I need to pay back every week. Because sometimes you might need up to 6 months gestation period before you start making profit. And imagine you have collected loan and you need to start paying back that same month. It will even kill the business. So the first thing I would advise is self-trust. We need to develop that. Then secondly, family members. Once you develop that self-trust, you will see money come. People are ready, and you must have confidence to defend whatever idea you have. Yes, you must have confidence. You must now start looking at different forms of partnership too. In Africa, we hate collaboration. We rather rival with ourselves than collaborate. Yes, be ready. Don't forget about people using you. Some people have ideas. I've seen people who have ideas. They write proposal and they say, I don't want to share my idea. You will steal my idea. See, there's no new idea. That idea, if I Google it, somebody else have done the idea. Be open. If you are starting an idea and someone wants to invest into your business, be open. Don't be greedy. Even if they say, I will get 30%, I will get 70%, just beg. It's better bringing money. Don't worry. There are ways you write proposal that will not show that you are greedy. Give that proposal to people. let them fund it and run it. But first, like I said, trust is the biggest form of policy.
All right. Thank you so much, sir, for
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my rent. On the barbing, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
"60 Minutes with Angela" starts right now.
Former member of Nigeria's House of Representatives, a former senator, a pilot, aircraft maintenance engineer, and currently Nigeria's Minister for Aviation. Under his tenure since 2015, Nigeria's civil aviation sector has grown and improved with safety guaranteed, boosting confidence in the aviation sector. And Nigerians seem to be thrilled with his tit-for-tat diplomacy, especially when it would appear as if Nigeria is in danger of being disrespected. Hadi Sirika, Nigeria's aviation minister, joins me on the program today. So in my introduction, I talked about how the civil aviation sector has grown and improved with safety guaranteed. Now, we know that sustaining safety has only been possible, though, because the NCAA, that's the Civil Aviation Authority, is regulating without major interference. Is that a major difference between before President Buhari came in 2015 and where we are today in 2022?
Before now, NCAA used to be within the ministry back in time. Then they got cut out and lumped together with service providers like FAN, Airport Authority, like NAMA, the Airspace Management Agency, put together in one unit. And then, of course, the Civil Aviation Act came and they separated them and put them as regulators separate from service providers like NIMET or FAN or other agencies such as NAMA, like I said. So today, they operate professionally within the confines of the general direction of International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, which is the world's regulating body, UN regulating body of civil aviation, because there is no aviation B. So you cannot interfere with somebody that is regulating you.
Take us through the airport upgrades. What are the things that we did to make those airports better, to make us get off those lists of worst airports? I remember a time when the Port Harcourt International Airport, for instance, was credited to be one of the worst. I mean, when we look at sleepinginairports.com, they're still listed there at number 3, number 5, and they talk about aggressive corruption. So beyond the physical aesthetics of the airports, they've improved. What are you doing about tackling what many call aggressive corruption in our airports?
Speaking to corruption, we probably have to understand airport and its working. We in civil aviation provide the platform, the casing, if you like, where we are housing customs, immigration, NDLEA, and so many other agencies that operate within the airport. To tackle corruption by custom personnel, for example, and to prosecute them, if any. We in civil aviation are doing our best, but we have a limitation to what we can do because we are not police. And it's not officers of aviation that are doing the custom work or doing the immigration work or doing the NDLEA work within the airport itself. That said, is our premises. We're doing the very best. One, whoever we found guilty of corruption will deter him from going to the airport, will seize his card, and ban him from being posted to our locations. This we have done, and we have named and shamed. And it's a continuous process. Now, speaking to airports, really, you see, you need to understand that our focus in aviation, and I'm very sorry to say this, it's not how very beautiful your airport is. The air conditioning, the travelators, the lifts, and so on and so forth. They are nice things to have. But our major focus as a focus area and our roadmap in Buhari administration is how very safe and secure you depart point A and land point B. And everything in between. These are things that you don't see. Passenger don't see. They don't care how the aircraft will fly out of Kaduna and land Bini. How does he find where Bini is? Those equipment are not what the passenger will see. If he's approaching to land into Enugu, the equipment that will show him this is Enugu, and this is the runway, and this is the center line of the runway, and this is the threshold of the runway, so that he does not land after the runway or on the side of the runway. These equipment, like the landing equipments, landing systems that we have in place, passengers don't see them. So the major focus of this government under Buhari is to tend to all those critical safety items, which we have been doing, and passengers don't see. So our energy is targeted at that. So, but we haven't abandoned them. I'm sure everybody knows now the airports have changed. And we're on our way to concessioning the airports so that they are put into private sector so they can do them very well. And this will happen by the grace of God this year.
Does the ministry have plans, towards training? I mean, are you involved in the training aspect of both pilots and everyone that is involved in that aviation sector?
The best safety is a well-trained aviator. In Zaria, when President Buhari came, or since his coming in 2015 till date, Zaria has become International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, Africa Center of Excellence. We have the highest number of trained instructors by ICAO in the entire world. We have the highest number of ICAO courses delivered by Zaria in the entire world. We have in Zaria put simulators, like 737 simulator is a $21 million equipment is installed in Zaria. We've installed the best fire and smoke simulator in Zaria, 5.2 billion. Before the coming of Buhari, firefighters go to Kamaru for training. And President Buhari said, no, it ought to be done in Nigeria. And he provided 5.2 billion, and we bought it and we put it in Zaria, and we do our training now. And it's the best in Africa. It's automatic. And everybody that comes to Zaria to do that. In Zaria, we bought and ordered for 20 training aircraft. So far, about 8 of them have been delivered. And this aircraft, they now use Jet A1, the normal aviation fuel. Before, they use an avgas, which is very difficult to find, very expensive, and makes the training more expensive. Now the training is half in cost. There's quite a number of things that we're doing in Zaria to upgrade training, to ensure that we've trained best pilots, best engineers, best cabin crew, best air traffic controllers, and so on and so forth. So training is a core area, and every single agency in aviation is focusing on training. We're doing training and retraining of our personnel. Some we do it locally in Nigeria. Even the foreign courses, we've devised a means that we will bring in the instructors to come in and train us in-house in Nigeria, so that more number of people will have opportunity to be trained. As against,
sending them out.
you send 10 out, they come back and then train the trainer. Now you have opportunity to train 100, and those 100 now train the trainer. That has completely changed.
From what it was before.
Yeah, from what it was before. Exactly. They have an airport of their own. We're extending the runway at the moment. We have a radar simulator that we're putting there, brand new. We put an instrument landing system there, new. We put a radio equipment called VOR, very high frequency omnidirectional range, radio range equipment to show you where the area is. We put quite a number of things there in Zaria. And so we're doing training, and they're the best. And we have, in areas of safety, for example, in same Zaria, we procured an aircraft that is used to calibrate the equipment that you have at various airports to ensure they are working in the correct order and correct sense. So that if your equipment tells you this is the runway, it is actually the runway.
Right.
Okay? So there's an equipment that will show you the center line of the runway and the beginning of the runway. So you don't land after the runway or on the side. That equipment needs to be rigged to ensure that it's working well. So that rigging, that calibration, to calibrate and make sure it's working well, we used to borrow an aircraft from Niger before Buhari comes.
To do that?
To do it and pay people to come from all over the place. Today, President Buhari approved about $10 million. We bought the aircraft, we trained our pilots, and we're doing it ourselves. It's in Zaria.
Yes.
So these are things that passengers don't see and don't know. So that landing equipment has to work well for you to be able to land safely in Lagos or Kaduna.
And it helps that you're a pilot as well, trained pilot, trained aviation maintenance engineer. Let's talk a bit about certification. You were able to achieve 2 major certifications in 2017. In April for the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, and in November of 2017 for the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, especially the Abuja Airport. That certification was described as a milestone. Why?
Okay, here's why. And so that we also earn the credit that we deserve.
Yes.
Since amalgamation of Nigeria in 1914, government in, government out had tried to certify our airports according to ICAO standards by the regulator. No government was able to certify any single airport.
Why not?
And the Buhari administration came and was certified Abuja and Lagos. Why not? because they have not put in their energy and focus and dedication and to do it. And we came as serious-minded people and we did it. We are now on our way to certifying Kano, Port Harcourt, and Enugu, and we will achieve it before the end of this administration. And that is the first time any government in the history of Nigeria from amalgamation in 1914 that did it. So Buhari did it.
What is the advantage of certification?
Well, the advantage is to ensure that everything in that airport is working well in accordance with International Civil Aviation Organization standards and practices, and that speaks to safety, efficiency, security, comfort, and facilitation of passenger. Everything to do with the airport is according to the standards. And so, we've won a lot of awards in this administration in our airports. Abuja won award, Lagos won award. All these awards are coming because they will come, they will check and see that those things that ought to be there in an airport are actually there. And this is the only time that Nigerian airports are being given these awards from International Civil Aviation Organizations and so on.
This is interesting, the point you make. So all those years when we were having multiple plane crashes and people thought it was witches and all those sort of things, we didn't have this certification?
No, we didn't have certification. And then so also safety of transportation, especially by air. It's a combination of so many and several factors that come together to ensure safety. It starts, like I said, with the human being himself, the aviator. How well trained is he? How proficient is he? How knowledgeable is he? What is the experience that he has? This must be ensured, and that's the work that NCA had been doing since we came, to ensure that if you have a license to be an engineer or a license to be a pilot, you are actually exercising the privilege of that license in accordance with the provision of the ICAO organization within our Nigerian civil aviation regulations and within our own set rules and regulations to ensure that you are in perfect order. You're not mentally deranged. You are physically fit. You are knowledgeable enough. You're also proficient enough. You're well trained to be able to carry out the functions of that license. So that speaks to safety. That is number one. Number two, the equipment that you're flying also needs to be airworthy. So the airplane itself, someone needs to check it to ensure that that airplane is airworthy, that it can go into the air and come back safely. Someone also needs to check that the weather, for example, the weather that you're given, the focus that you're given, is actually correct and accurate, and you can use it. I'll give you an example. Some of the things that NIMET is doing, which the passenger don't see. The cause for the Sosoliso crash was identified to be a condition that is called wind shear. You know when you shear something, when you tear something, that's exactly what happens to the air. It gets torn apart. It changes direction suddenly and speed and suddenly. So if the air is going like this, so half of it maybe comes this way and half goes this way. And suddenly and with such speed. So when it happens at low altitude, because the airplane is riding in air, it loses control and hit the ground at low altitude. So there's an equipment known as low-level wind shear alert system. They weren't there in our airports. But this government of President Buhari installed them in about 15 airports in the country, and will install them in all the airports before we leave. And another agency like the AIB, whose function is to be able to do post-mortem of an accident so that they can come out with recommendations of what to do to prevent future occurrence.
Coming in through the Abuja airport today, I noticed the NIMET office for pilots right there at the Abuja airport. I've never noticed it before. That's a new thing as well.
It's a new thing. It's a briefing office. You know, the pilots can walk in there and get briefings. You know, briefing about the weather. I want to travel to Calabar. I should be able to get briefings. But we're even going a step beyond that. We're developing apps. You know, NIMET NASA has an app that you can just download on your phone and see, okay, and get the briefing that you need for the flight. We're also having an app by NAMA, Airspace Management Agency, you know, to have all this your flight flight planning done, automated on your phone, and you file it, and you get approved, on your phone. You don't need to.
Pilot.
Before you have to put it on a form and climb onto the tower and give them and come down by hand and go to pay at the commercial section, pay and get the receipt and come back before your flight is approved. Now it's being automated. In about a month or two, all that will be on your phone. So you can plan your flight on your phone from your office or in your cockpit, send it, get it approved, do the payment online, and you're good to go.
Join us again after the break. When we know now that people were forcefully retired, the airline was liquidated, assets were sold, why then are we trying to have a new national airline?
So we're trying to have a new national airline different from the other one. The other one was a government enterprise. So the government that established it like a bus service. So the government decided to do that at that time. Why? Because one of the importance of civil aviation, air transportation, to the economy of Nigeria. Because we are 200 million people at the center of Africa, equidistant from all location.
Yes.
And more because in the past there has not been any successful airline out of Nigeria that is providing this service. 95% of all international airlines that are operating within Nigeria are non-Africans. Not even non-Nigerian, they are non-Africans. And we have the market. So why do we allow somebody to come and take our market, take our employment? So government is trying to set up this airline, which is private sector, for Nigerian private entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Maybe with some foreign, also international partners, to set up a robust Nigerian airline that will be able to provide the service. Today, 2 months ago or so, I went to London. The first class ticket from Abuja to London is 6 million naira. Does it make sense? Business class is 4,500,000. Does it make sense? Why should a British Airways be making this money? Who is British Airways? Is a former government-owned airline that was privatized into private hands. So why should a private citizen of the UK enjoy the 6 million per ticket out of Nigeria? Why not a Nigerian?
Yes.
So we thought that we should set up an airline in the correct way to be able to also partake in this business. One, to provide the service, perhaps better service, be jealous of our country and give us the best of service. The airplanes that are coming from some of these airlines, without mentioning names,
yes,
they are not the best that they're giving us.
Yes.
But they're taking the best of money out of us. So why shouldn't we create something? And we can do it. Nigerians are very knowledgeable. Nigerians are very enterprising.
Yes.
Nigerians knows what it takes to do it. It's only the will. So we are providing the political will and the support and the sovereign shoulder for this airline to lean upon and begin to provide air transport service of today. There's a difference between Nigeria Airways and Nigeria Air. Nigeria Air is a private sector led and driven airline.
And it's not just going to be private sector on paper.
The Buhari administration focus is to make contribution to GDP of Nigeria, which is 450 billion. We want to get away from the 0.4 that we met percent GDP contribution to 5%, and we can do it because within the first 2 years we took it from 0.4 to 0.6, and we're on our going when COVID came. And the way to do it is to establish this airline, to have the maintenance, repair and overhaul center, to have the leasing company, to concession the airport, do all this. And furthermore, President Buhari has approved that our airports are now free zones that attracts foreign investment, that increased GDP contribution. That speaks volumes. And you need a feeder airline for the MRO, the maintenance center, and the maintenance center needs the airline. And you need the airline also for the airports that were built. And for the second runway, we are doing Abuja, and so on and so forth.
Yes.
So our roadmap is working very well, madam.
Is it still feasible? The plan was April 2022 for the new airline.
Well, so now the focus is that we are going to have this airline. The focus changed.
Yes.
When we said April, we thought that perhaps we would do the bid, whoever wins comes to establish. But that, I think we found out that, well, it's not the correct way to do it, because in that case, anybody can just go and do it. So we changed the focus. The focus now is to set up the airline first, get the AOC, Air Operator Certificate, get the ATL, Air Transport License, get everything in place, set up the airline, let it start to fly with its own aircraft and pilots and so on, and see how it's set up. Then we now invite the investors to come, both within and outside the country. So it's running parallel. And because of that, we hope that by 1st of July, we should be able to get this airline off the ground, flying domestically within Nigeria, with few aircraft, and then we keep to add on to the fleet, and up to a time when we will now get the investor, and then later we commence international operations. So that's why, because of the change of focus, and which is for good cause, we now also had to tweak the time for the start of the airline.
Timing. The Aviation Safety Roundtable Initiative, I was reading them and they were saying setting up a national carrier with 3 wet-leased aircraft is undeserving for Nigeria.
It's impossible in an aviation industry, aviation business, airline business especially, where the profit margin has been proven to be 5% or below when you do it right. For you to borrow from a Nigerian business, from a Nigerian bank, from a Nigerian entrepreneur, to borrow at 23% and make money. And the kind of equipment that you go to lease, before, people will lease 18-year-old aircraft, 19-year-old, 20-year, in the past even 25-year, 30-year-old airplanes.
Bottom of the barrel.
And those of them, those aircraft, madam, they are so inefficient to operate. They're so archaic. They burn more fuel. Some of them burn 4 times more fuel than the newer jets. They are not friendly environment-wise.
Yes.
And you bring them and you want to compete with airlines. If you are doing international airline, if you are a Hadi Sirik airline from Nigeria, and you go to lease a 777, and you put it 2 or 3 of them on London route, or on Qatar route, or on Dubai route, or even on Ethiopia route, you want to compete with an Ethiopian airline that's an A350, a brand new one that is just 3 or 2 years old, with their own airliner that is 19 years old, that's burning 4 times more fuel, fuel being 40% of your operational cost. How are you going to compete? How? So these are some of the reasons and some of the issues that these airlines do have. They don't have access to capital, there's lack of governance, and all of them, without exception, they are one-man show. It's a money bag who feels, okay, 117 passengers times 30,000 to Kano equals this big money. And these airplanes can be leased at $1 million, he has it. He leases them, he brings them in, he does it. By the time he goes for 1 C check, and all the money gets pumped, then he says, oh my God, wait a minute. Then he makes a rethink. So this lack of governance, this one-man show running of airline, this lack of understanding of the dynamics of airline business by these operators, and their unwillingness to come together and form a very strong, vibrant, new, state-of-the-art, high-tech airline, to also have access to capital through a leasing arrangement that we are setting up as a government, is part of the problems that is bringing this down these airlines, where cousins and uncles and in-laws are owners and operators of the airline, where tickets can be given for free and so on. Okay? So these are the issues, madam, where an entrepreneur will get up. And don't get me wrong, since I came minister, I had not refused one single airline to bring in an aircraft or a route that they want to go to. All of them applied. I've given them Dubai route, I've given them London route, I've given them Guangzhou route, I've given them Beijing route, I've given them India, everywhere. I've given them 78 to 80 countries to go. Are they going? Those that have started going, how many people were left and abandoned in London? How many people were left and abandoned
So
in...
it's easy to apply for these routes, but
And they get them and to operate them because they are not operating these airlines according to the dynamics of the industry. They don't, most of them don't have what it takes to do so. Today, if there's a proper airline out of Nigeria going to Europe, British Airways will bring down their cost. Because when I was a member of House of Reps, I was the deputy chairman for the House Committee. And as a professional, they asked me to chair a committee to investigate why is it that the ticket from Abuja to London, which is shorter than Accra to London, why is it that the business class is half the price from Accra to London than it is from Abuja to London? And I summoned British Airways. The guy came in charge of Africa. He said, well, the only reason is because Nigerians can afford.
Because they can afford?
Yeah. And that's why he's giving us. So, okay, thank you very much. Now this is the Nigerian option. If we do it right, because Nigerians can afford, then we'll put the price right. And we'll force them to come down with the price also. And that Nigerians will benefit.
Would you advocate for some of these airlines in the absence of proper capacity? Do you think they should merge?
I think they should. More than merge, they should now come and own this airline that we're trying to set up. They should come and own this airline that we're trying to set up because it's meant for them, private sector. But you know, the ego thing is there.
Yes.
How is a chairman CEO of airline A, who is the chairman CEO, wherever he goes, he appears on television, he comes, he grandstand. How can he now be reduced to owning 5% of an airline and he lose the fame and the name? So he wants to remain 100% of nothing than to be owner of 5% of everything.
Yes. 100% of nothing.
Yeah.
So two major challenges that still exist. Foreign exchange access, with rumors we've heard recently that some airlines now want to be paid in dollars, and of course importation of Jet A1 fuel. And I'm also relating that to problems with kerosene shortage. Some people say aviation fuel is similar to kerosene.
Well, so regarding those two questions, Madam, when we came in, there was about $600 million of funds locked up in Nigeria.
Belonging to the airlines.
Yep. And at the time when Nigeria was in a recession, also at a time when we had to pay that 75 billion to workers.
Yes.
At the time when the oil prices were plummeting, I wrote him a simple memo for him to approve that the money be paid. And he approved. And within 2 years, all those monies were paid. And more than 50% of them were for African airlines, especially Ethiopian. And we paid all. And now they're beginning to pile up because of the central bank's policy. I just written a memo now again to Mr. President, please direct CBN to allow this airline to repatriate their money. Because if a Nigerian airline also goes to their country, he has to also get his money back.
Yes.
And then as per the shortage of Jet A1 and causing the price of kerosene to go up, yeah, they're similar, yes, in terms of how they are being distilled in... we don't refine Jet A1 in Nigeria, unfortunately. Since we came, NNPC said they could do it.
Yes.
They even made me to make a promise that they would do it in 12 months. They haven't done it. As to why they are not importing, I don't know. But we pushed. The central bank is all access of foreign exchange by the majors who are importing these Jet A1s, and also by NNPC itself. NNPC and these majors ought to be given the funds, i.e. the foreign exchange, to be able to bring in this product for us to go. And the centrality of civil aviation in the dynamics of the economy of the country is very important. If you want to know how important an airline can be, or how civil aviation can be important, think about UAE, think about Dubai, and take out the airline Emirates and take out the airports, and see what Dubai becomes.
Nothing.
Nobody will go to a 350,000 people country like Qatar, if not because of the airline. That have been forgotten in the long corner of the Hijaz area.
or Abu Dhabi with Etihad.
So civil aviation is very core or is very central to every single economy. It's actually the backbone. Many countries have, Ethiopia, even during the war, they didn't allow the airlines to die. Would you go to Addis without the airline? You won't bother yourself to enter Rwandan Air or Kenya Air and then connect and go, unless if it is very, very, pardon me, unless it is something very, very urgent and very pressing for you to go. Or you just want to go and see how the Abyssinians used to be, you know, from the Bible and the Quran.
COVID-19, I can't talk with you without mentioning that. Obviously, you had all these plans, everything was moving seamlessly since 2015, and then COVID happened in 2019. Rationalize for us the effects COVID had. How did it slow down further improvement in the aviation sector?
Well, it did in many ways. First and foremost, the entire sector was shut down. But the airports remained opened for medical supplies and for obvious reasons that you cannot shut them down, because restarting them will now cost you a lot of money.
Right.
So all of the income that we had before, the little left after salaries and so on, were put in to sustain and maintain these airports for emergencies, because there can be an airport in transit has an emergency and needs to land in Kano. So you need to open it up. So this drained us out, drained the industry really, really bad. We are finding it very difficult up to now to pay salaries in our agencies. Entrepreneurs suffered lots of losses. Imagine you're a catering company and you've signed with a firm to be supplying you chicken, and you paid for the money for a period, or you contracted something out, and suddenly there is no business.
Yes.
Who suffers? You. You're not making any income, you have staff, you cannot lay them off, you have to keep them, some at half salary and so on, struggle. So it really impacted and slowed down our progress. Yes. You see, unfortunately, the reason why, fortunately, the reason why we've changed our focus under Buhari to make sure that aviation is private sector led and driven is because government cannot continue to fund civil aviation. Okay? If I go to council to debate, to get something approved,
yes,
I'll be debating against cholera, which is healthcare. I'll be debating against illiteracy, which is education. I'll be debating against water supply, which you need. Like Fela said, in Broken, water no get enemy.
Yes.
So if I am debating, looking for money for an airport, or looking for money for one equipment or another, somebody is coming looking for medicines, or the Ministry for Humanitarian Affairs, there's a flood somewhere, they're looking for money. Who gets priority? Them, not me, certainly. So since I am not a priority, I am a priority because the emergency guy, humanitarian ministry, cannot take those blankets quickly to Birni Kebbi without me, a veto.
Yes.
He cannot supply that drugs to Maiduguri without me,
yes,
if there's cholera. If there's Ebola in Lagos, he cannot supply those without me. But I don't take that significance because they don't see it. Okay? So I find it difficult to get funded. I think President Buhari, given the scenario and the dynamics, he done very well to support civil aviation. Since we know they cannot continue, and they cannot continue to be Buhari, we pray that the person who's coming will be better than Buhari.
yes,
And better than him, and then better than him, for the country. But for now, for me, he's the best. So since we know we cannot continue to have good Buharis, so we have to take it into private sector, where we can access funds for services in civil aviation. So doing that had ensured that we're putting it back to people, back to entrepreneurs. And that's why you're seeing now the airlines have been doubled, the passengers have been doubled and tripled and so on, and the airports and what have you. So people are now participating more and more in civil aviation. And the funding is coming from private sector in most cases. So all our programs and objectives are now private sector led and driven. And in that way, we're getting a sector that we deserve as a country. Coming to those specifics of how, as a government...
How did you come back from all that COVID?
Yeah, so what we did was that we ensured, one, that we've reduced and encouraged the entrepreneurs. We give them rebate. Some were written off their debts. Some we give them 50%. Some we reschedule their debts, for them to come back. For example, if you had to pay us maybe electricity, we like ask you to pay maybe 10% of it, or we put it on hold for you for 6 months until when you come back. So like that, we brought back businesses slowly and gradually. And up to now, we're giving concessions. We're writing off some of the debts, for the entrepreneurs that are within the civil aviation, And government also gave some money to us. In the first instance, 5 billion naira was given to us, which we now didn't use for ourselves as FAN, NAMA, NCA, NAMA. No, we gave it to entrepreneurs in civil aviation like taxi companies, like catering companies, like food vendors, and like that, and ground handling, and airlines, and so on and so forth. So we brought a template and got them under their associations to sit down and give us a recommendation of how the money will be spent, and we gave it to them. So I think that is helping, and we begin to see a good comeback into the industry.
Would it be lack of funding, for instance, that makes it possible sometimes when you land at the airport, the air conditioner isn't working, or the toilet?
No, I think on that one is serial neglect over time. Let me give you the scenario or the story of Lagos Airport, which I am very popular in giving this story. People are tired of hearing me like a broken gramophone. You see, Lagos International Airport was built around 1979. And it was intended for 2 million passengers per annum, but ended up only building wing D and E, and then can support just about 200,000 passengers per annum at the time. 200,000 passengers per annum. Today, Lagos is doing like 12 million passengers per annum. Okay? So imagine this, my office was meant to be for me as minister, with my one toilet, and my one conference center, and my one office. Then they bring 16 ministers and say we should share this same office. 16 of us will be using this one toilet and one chair. That is the story of Lagos. Built for 200,000, today it's doing 12 million. And nothing was added to it. So it dilapidated beyond repairs. So what we did, we accelerated completion of the new Lagos, and they migrate, and we're concessioning the airport, and private sector will come and put in their money, to do it all over again. And don't forget, as bad as it is, it's not that government is not doing anything. So many things that are security and safety critical within the money that we're making out of fund and within the budget that we're getting are being injected into Lagos. And there's only so much that we can do.
Yes.
What is more pressing to prevent a fire occurrence within the terminal building or to do the air conditioning? Sometimes it's a choice. Okay? And nobody knows what you're doing to prevent. Yeah. When I came in as ministers, all of the exit points were under lock and key. So if there's any fire, there's no escape route. Because of so many reasons. Because they failed. So we have to open them up. We have to check the firefighting systems in the building. We have to rehabilitate them. We have to do so many things to ensure safety. We have to ensure that there's no fire. If you go in the basement of Lagos Airport and you see the amount of naked wares at the time with water dripping all over the place, it's a tremendous amount of money that was put in there to take care of all this. And passengers don't know. And the air conditioning central system, which used to give the cooling effect, because then the passengers were not many. The system was also working, so there's air conditioning. No, there are too many passengers, and the central system has failed. And you see that we put all these wall units all over the place, trying to see whether we can provide some cooling effect. Because of the number of passengers. Imagine this room, maybe meant for 6 of us, and you now jump-packed 500 of us. No matter
it won't be effective anymore.
won't be effective anymore. So that's why we think that the best way is to concession the airport, strip it down, open it up by private sector, put it into a new edifice, and Lagos is one floor. Even against international convention, you need to have arrival and departure up and down. So we have a huge design for Lagos. At the time when we came in, Julius Berger had asked for about 14 billion to be able to give some palliatives to the airport, to get the cooling system, to get all of this. But of course, lack of funding and so on. So we decided that, look, the best way is to go into concession, and luckily there's huge interest for Lagos because of the money that it will do, and we get to do it. So people should bear us. We can't score 100% everywhere.
Yes.
But we'll just try and do the best that we can to ensure. But at least we are giving them a brand new terminal building, which is I think 10 times more the capacity that we have now.
10 times more the capacity. What about the second Abuja runway?
So Mr. President has approved the second Abuja runway. He's going to provide special funding for that. And he's a master in doing those things. When I got up and I saw the safety implication of the then Abuja runway, and I told Mr. President that we must, as a matter of safety and urgency, shut down the airport and build or reconstruct the runway, because airlines were landing and breaking their wheels and so on and so forth.
Yes.
He approved. And he told me, look, go and plan very well. I said, yes, sir. And that's all he said, and gave the money. And within 6 weeks, the entire country said it's not possible. Nigerian Society of Engineers made a protest to the National Assembly, said it's not possible. The National Assembly said it's not possible. I spoke for 17 hours in National Assembly in defense, over 3 days. Everybody said it was impossible. But God on our side, we made it possible. We delivered the project. They looked at the logistical nightmare at the time. Embassies and the ambassadors and the high commissioners were saying it's impossible. You cannot shut down the city. Safety is not guaranteed. You can't move it to Kaduna. We moved to Kaduna for those 6 weeks. Everybody there, we were trucking them through buses, or we were busing people to Kaduna and back. And we were having like 9-10 rotations per day. And for those 217 kilometers, we were going and coming back. There was not a single incident. We use road safety people, we use police, we use SSS, we use the army, the Air Force, the police. Everybody was putting hands on deck. And the people of the ministry, the FAN, the contractor, Julius Berger. And we had a time, and we were able to beat the time with 1 day. So we made it a day before. It was total reconstruction and rehabilitation. During that time, President Buhari gave the order and left for his medical in London.
Yes.
It was a tough time for us, And some of the challenges, which maybe will appear in either my memoir or in an interview that has more time.
Yes.
I give you just 3 challenges. We were committed to the time, and everybody was saying it's impossible, especially you, the press. Every day the television comes, they say, no, they can't deliver it. One of the things that happened is that we found out that we needed a material, fiber optic material, to put it underneath the runway, to build it upon. It's a mashed glass kind of thing.
Yes.
It's a new technology to put it on there. And they said to me, 2 weeks after we started, we have only 4 weeks more, that they cannot do it because even though it's manufactured in Germany, it takes 2 weeks sea time to come to Lagos, get cleared 1 day, and get delivered to Abuja, and 1 week, and then get to open. By which time 6 weeks is gone. I said, no, I can't buy that. I said, is it flyable? They say yes, but at a very ridiculous cost. I asked how much. They told me. I said, I buy, and we flew them in. In 3 days, we flew them in. Another challenge was the road transport workers. They went on strike, and all our bitumen was in Calabar. So we couldn't bring out the bitumen from Calabar into Abuja. So I went to Lagos, and we met with the leadership. We did what we did. They opened the window for us for 1 week, and we evacuated all the bitumen we needed, and we brought it in. And you know, of course, we had to fix Abuja, Kaduna itself.
Yes.
We had to do some palliatives on the roads and truck people in there and come out and make sure that the airline, because the international airlines say they're not going to Kaduna. Only Ethiopian
was going.
Yeah, because of the hype created, and the embassy said don't go, and so people say don't go. I say okay, it's our country, we would fix it. Thanks to Ethiopian, they were there for us, and the same equipment that the others have is what they have. The 777s, the A350s, and so on, and they were able. The runway in Kaduna was very good. The landing systems were good, and Ethiopian went there, took passengers, and began operations in Kaduna. They said they are not going, but we had to find the means and ways to make them go.
To make it happen.
Yeah, and it happened. So this is a Buhari style. So second runway would happen in Abuja, inshallah. And he's given the directives. We found the contractor. We've given the contract. We're mobilizing them with cash, and they will start soon, and we will deliver it before President Buhari exits out of power, inshallah.
Join us again after the break. Welcome back to my concluding moments now with the Honorable Minister for Aviation, Hadi Sirika. I can't let you go without talking about your tit-for-tat diplomacy. Nigerians loved you for that. The face-off between Nigeria and Dubai. The way I understood it is that Nigeria gave 21 slots to the Emirates airline, while Dubai gave only 1 slot to Air Peace. My question is, did Air Peace request for more than 1 slot and it was declined?
So actually, I'm not in a position to do diplomacy on behalf of Nigeria, because I'm not the Minister for Foreign Affairs. I'm not Minister for Foreign Affairs. And then it wasn't really like a tit-for-tat thing.
Yes.
It is that we have set rules, and I am jealous about those rules, and they must be observed, not in the breach. So we in the COVID-19 task force set our own rules, and we in Nigerian civil aviation set our own rules as well, which an airline must comply with. They also in UAE and in Britain set their own.
Yes.
We are observing theirs, so they should observe our own. But they breached ours. Lufthansa from Germany, British Airways from UK, KLM. After Lufthansa withdrew, British Airways withdrew, Air France withdrew, and said sorry, and they came back. But of course, for some reason, Emirates decided that we needed them more than they needed us, and they refused. And we stood our ground. We stood our ground and stuck to what we said we would implement. And they pushed and they pushed and they did everything that they could. And I have the best boss in the world who doesn't interfere with what you're doing.
Yes.
So long as you're not doing something wrong and you're doing it according to the law, President Buhari will support you 100%. And he didn't interview. He didn't call you and say, oh, Hadi, please allow these Emirates to come. But every other person has said, allow them to come, we're losing, the economy is suffering. But you cannot go to
UAE their rules.
And in the course of doing that, then came the Emirates versus Air Peace. So they were coming to Nigeria 21 times
a
week. And Air Peace applied to go 3 times a week, and they denied.
They gave them only 1.
Only 1. And even the one they gave them Sharjah, not Dubai.
Not mainstream Dubai.
Not Dubai. So we refused them also. We know that they're the almighty Emirates,
yes,
but they are our friends. We like their business. We want them to carry our people to go to Dubai, because we don't even have our own anyway.
Yes, but they must do it within our law.
Exactly, that's the point. But luckily and thank goodness, everything was resolved and we became friends again.
And we're still granting multiple entry points to foreign airlines.
If you're a policymaker, you are supposed to provide for those airlines, local airlines, make their business good, right? You're also supposed to provide for that entrepreneur from Enugu or Kano, whose total capital is not more than 1 million naira. He wants to go and buy small wares in Dubai.
Yes.
Why would he have to fly from Enugu to Lagos or from Kano to Lagos? Right. He will spend 150,000 naira to pay for ticket, go and come back, to pay for hotel, for taxi, to eat food, to waste his time. Why won't he go to Dubai direct and buy his wares and come and make money? Yes. I know people that go on those trips, all they make is 350,000 naira or 300,000 naira. I've done it before also. People that I've been doing business with to go far and near and buy wares and come and sell are still doing the business. I know it pinches. If my profit, total profit is 300,000 and I have to spend 150,000 to go to Lagos and come back, you've taken 50% of my profit. If I can come out of my house and join the plane and go to where I want to go to, why not? So as a policy maker, I have to provide for the airlines and provide for the 200 million Nigerians. Okay? And that's the way I see it. And it is also business. If they think they are losing business, by that airline going to that city in Enugu, by Ethiopia going to Enugu, people are getting more jobs as well in the same economy. Somebody has to handle them. Do you understand?
Yes.
So when they say that, as a policy maker, I have to look at everything and take the best decision. And I believe that is also growth. And I can tell you they're only being lazy. Who asked them not to be able to set up an airline that can go international? So also they have multiple landing points. And it's only they're only postponing the evil day with the single African air transport market, SATEM, coming in place.
Yes.
Which Nigeria has signed the solemn declaration, which is an AU Agenda 2063, which all the heads of states of Africa had signed. With the coming of that SATEM, certainly, for sure, if you don't have an airline, you're dead. The earlier they realize this and get out of the comfort zone and stop being all these territorial and being fiefdoms and being all this and begin to participate and create a robust airline between themselves or even partner in the national airline.
Yes.
And create a robust, very strong carrier that can withstand all these Ethiopians and all these British people and all these French and all these UAEs and all these Qataris. We can beat them at the game. How can 350,000 people in Qatar sit down to create an airline, the best airline in the world, that we cannot? We are 200 million people. We were more educated than they are. We're still more educated than Qatar is. Nigeria is more educated, more entrepreneurial than UAE is. Why can't we do it? So they're being lazy. In the days of Nigeria Airways, they were flying DC-10 to Makodi, to Sokoto, to Abuja, to Maiduguri, full from Lagos. They're not being lazy. Even in the same Nigeria today, in the present day Nigeria, Overland has developed a route to Ilorin.
Yes.
Why can't they put their money there and develop a route? It's just being lazy. The business is there. Aviation business is there. And who says you must do airline that carries passengers only?
Do cargo.
Do cargo, do mail, there's so many things to do in aviation. So for me, really, they're only crying foul, they're only being lazy about it, and they only want to continue to provide their kind of quality service for us.
Well, thank you, Honorable Minister, for speaking with me today, and thank you for watching. I'm Angela Ajetumobi.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can